going on. But man, you guys ready to jump into this?
Well, first of all, how are you feeling?
I'm better, Moose, man. It's been a battle, dude. I've been under the weather for like, I'd say the better part of the last 6-7 days.
What are you talking about? It's been at least 2 weeks.
You didn't get like the Rona or anything, did you?
No, I think I just got the flu, but I mean, it kicked my ass, man. Like, and I'm fasting, so it's been like really hard to recover properly,
Yeah.
So it's been hard to get my fluids up. It's been hard to fight. There was a day where I had like a fever of like 102.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that was tough, and but I'm better, man. I'm good. I'm a fighter. You know what I'm saying? I'm game.
Well, no, I feel it. I respect that game.
Got to fight, bro.
Drink plenty of water. That's what I'm doing.
Well, that's been the hard part, Zero Cool, is I've been fasting during the day, so I'm trying to catch up fluids at night, and then early in the morning I wake up at like 5 a.m. I drink a protein shake. I get my hydration. I got my vitamin waters and such.
Right. Yeah. No, I hear you.
But yeah, we're mostly recovered. I'm gonna try to do some exercising this week. We'll see if the lungs hold up. We'll see.
I'm gonna go to the gym tonight, actually, after the podcast.
Oh, nice, dude. I go to a 24-hour gym. We could just scan in, and you can go in and do whatever you got to do. And it's kind of nice to go in late at night. There's like nobody in that bitch. Like you could do whatever you want to do.
Exactly. That's why I go at night, because there's nobody there.
Oh, thank you, Kazi. That's really nice of you, man. What up, EM Tech, man? Big salute to the live chat. South Joe, Frank the Tank, EM, Kaz, Max was in there earlier. Ascending's in the house. Kind of a random stream doing on a Saturday, but I feel like I haven't done a pod in forever. So I just want to catch up with you guys and discuss some things going on in the industry. Moose wanted to do a pod last week. We couldn't get to it. I was out of town. And then I think we talked at some point during the week. I mean, there was just so many things going on. We knew we had to do a show, So here we are. All right, let me present the first story. There it is. All right, just some numbers to kind of discuss with relation to the industry. This is actually an older article. It's dated from the end of January, but it's an interesting thing because we've got some carriers that are showing some pretty phenomenal growth, even though the U.S. population's growth is actually stalling. So where it begs the question, where are these customers coming from, right?
ACP.
All right, so, well, according to Recon Analytics, friend of the show, Roger Etner, he says he has some of the answers as to how, companies are still growing, even though the actual population isn't really growing. So T-Mobile reported 934,000 postpaid phones in Q4 of 2023. AT&T reported 526,000. And Verizon reported 318,000. So that's quite a bit of growth in an industry that we view for the most part as being kind of mature, things kind of stabilizing. Everybody's been asking, when are we going to start to see that slowdown across the industry? Because we haven't really seen it. But another year goes by and there's still growth. The rate of growth obviously is slower than it used to be, but it says here, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, as of December 19th, 2023, the nation gained more than 1.6 million people in 2023, growing by 0.5%. We are now approaching 335 million people. The year's national population growth was still historically low, but was a slight uptick from the 0.4% increase in 2022 and the 0.2 increase in 2021. So still got some people there. Here are the possible explanations, and this is where I kind of want to get your opinions. Where do you guys think are the most likely sources of the growth that we do see in wireless? The three ideas mentioned here. More children are getting their own phones. That's the first one. The second idea is that businesses are subscribing to more wireless lines. So like somebody gets a job working for a company, said company gets said employee a dedicated line and phone on the business account, right? So now that person, that employee, carries their personal phone and their personal line along with also a business phone and business line, right? And then the last thing, which we think we have seen before across many different elements of the industry, and that's postpaid cannibalizing prepaid. Okay, so I want to start with Moose. Moose, I mean, we've talked about this before with respect to growth. AT&T grows, Verizon grows a little bit, and then T-Mobile obviously is the big grower. And we're looking at these population growth numbers, and they're very mild. Of those three things, what do you think it is?
Well, I'm just
Or is it,
doing a
or
quick
could it be more
Google.
than one, or do you think it's one more so than the others? What do you think?
So I'm doing a quick Google search, okay? As soon as you mentioned this, because we've talked about this multiple times. I mean, perfect example, right? You have two daughters, right? They're eventually going to be getting a phone. And just to give you guys an idea of just how many kids potentially do not have a phone today, it's close to 41 million kids that are in the ages between 5 years old to 14 years old.
Okay, so
Now,
Moose, that begs the question: what is the golden age for kids to get phones?
well, okay, here's the real question, right? It all depends on where you live, okay? And the reason why I say that is because since 2020, actually even before then, we've been seeing a significant amount of emergency situations in the K through 12 situations, okay? And what I mean by that is that there's more mass shootings, there's more situations where people need emergency communications to their parents, right? At the minimum, the parents should know, hey, where's my kid? I need a GPS location. Find my iPhone, something along those lines, right? So 40, possibly 41 million kids today, some percentage of that do not have a cell phone, okay? Now, that being said, the second large group of folks that are currently do not have a postpaid line or a prepaid line would be all these migrants, right? That have recently come across the border, right? They're going to be getting Metro. They're going to be getting Cricket. They're going to be getting the prepaids first, right? That's a significant amount of people. The estimates are upwards of the 10 to 11, 12 million folks, okay? But right, there's going to be a situation where, like Verizon just did this week or last week, you can now buy a second line. They're going to count that as an additional line, even though it's only $10 or whatever it is, right? Same thing with the digits thing that T-Mobile did, right? Or any of these free lines, right, that T-Mobile does. So there's always going to be this growth in raw connections. But the biggest population growth in terms of the wireless industry is going to be these kids, right? Eventually, all of them are going to be getting a phone because, I'll give you a perfect example. A buddy of mine from Michigan just called me last weekend and he was asking me, hey, so like, how much is it going to cost me to add my daughter who currently is, I believe, in 7th grade, right? All of her friends currently have a cell phone, right? A smartphone. And she's the one left out, right? So then I explained to him, look, the phone itself is pretty much free, right? Because of the, $1,000 off, AT&T, whatever, right? That's easily done, right? Getting, a phone from Swappa, trading that in, whatever, right? The hard part for him that he has to swallow is between $35 and $45 a month extra for the next potentially 10 years.
And that's just the one line of service. That's
One
not
line,
counting. That's not
right?
counting if there's like a watch added or
Right.
something. Yeah.
That's $540 extra a year, which he straight up told me that is way out of his budget. Not because he doesn't make that much money, but he has 4 kids, Chacha.
Right.
So think about it. That's 540 at a certain point in time. That's 540 times 4, dog. Times 4. That's $2,000 extra a month. Now, of course, the more lines you have, the lower the price point per line, right? But it's not going to be by much. It's still $2,000. The phone is
Oh,
irrelevant in
no,
this conversation.
sure,
But
it's
anyways, go
just
ahead.
it's just continued expense, you know?
Right, go ahead, go ahead.
Well, let me get Zero Cool in on this. Zero Cool, you got those 3 ideas. Which do you think is playing heavily into this? Maybe you got a reason why you believe so.
Yes, I completely agree with Moose's sentiment. Right, a lot of kids and teenagers today, the technology mindset is built into them. It's miraculous. They my nieces, for example, they know how to use technology.
So if the technology mindset is built into them, the
Correct.
connectivity mindset is required as well.
Exactly. Yes, and that's the point I want to make. Um, yes, we've had a lot of areas to where emergencies have happened, school shootings, whatnot. Communication. I think it's very clear. Communication, having the ability to communicate, right, saves lives. It does. It's a simple fact. So, I think every you know person that's in school should be able, as long as the parents can afford it, should be able to have a cell phone. What would be really nice, actually, would be really nice, is to have the school subsidize that for them. I think that should happen. Because like I said,
So like a student
something.
subsidy of some sort.
Yeah, something. Yeah, because like I said, it's important to know where your kids are at, and be able to communicate with them effectively, especially in emergency situations. I think last year there's been just too many school shootings. It's a tragedy, but it's just it's you have to have the tools to communicate and know. I think like I said, it's they would know how to use the cell phone like in like 2 seconds, right? So it's definitely needed. I think schools need to subsidize for that and allow that to be a part of their lives.
All right, B, can I get you in on this? We got those 3 ideas. Kids getting phones, businesses adding lines for employees, and possibly postpaid transition from prepaid. One of them more substantial than the others? Do you think they're all in play? What are your ideas?
I think it's probably a combination of all of those things. I don't have a whole lot to add from what everyone else has said. You guys have, pretty much articulated it pretty well. It's just a combination of all of those things. You see how essential communications is to society, especially here in America. It makes perfect sense that people will want to do the things that they're doing. I think the new idea, for example, that Verizon has, where you can just add a second line to your phone, makes a lot of sense. Supports continued growth if a customer wants it, without having to necessarily purchase a phone, which of course benefits the customer, benefits the company. They don't have to subsidize another phone for $1,000. So it's easier to grow, and to add additional lines of service as needed, than it ever has been before. So it makes a lot of sense that people will find ways to um, deepen their relationship with these particular carriers. So.
All right, Maximus, let me get you in on this, man. What do you think's going on here?
So the kids thing is definitely a good point, and I feel like a lot of people, especially like for like the younger kids, they'd be getting like a smart watch as opposed to a phone. They're a lot cheaper and like just easier to work with. Like I know a lot of companies right now have like free Apple Watch when you buy an iPhone or something like that. Nothing would stop you from just giving that to your kid and setting it up with family setup. So that's certainly something that's giving you that connectivity without like the price and the unlimited access to the internet that you get from a smartphone. So that's, but cellular watch is still playing into overall wireless growth.
So you think a lot of those lines are going to be watches and actual traditional lines, or do you think it's mostly
Also, it's like
connected
the
devices?
also it's like the parent gets the traditional line and then the kid gets the connected device. But that's definitely like for a younger age. But the older ages, especially teenagers, and I guess there's no other way to say it. Basically, teenagers got to get an iPhone. It has to specifically be an iPhone, like for social reasons, in a lot of social situations anyway.
Right.
And you know, a lot of prepaid companies have deals on older iPhones. You can get used ones from Swappa. I don't think cost is a huge concern when it comes to a smartphone, especially with, you know, more affordable family plans being available, more affordable single line plans being available, you know, iPhones available cheap through carriers or the used market. So I think that's certainly a huge part of it. Businesses, definitely. I mean, especially big businesses getting a ton of lines. And then postpaid to prepaid to postpaid, I don't think is as big of a thing because really that could go both either way. I think a lot of people want to go from postpaid to prepaid.
Just for the savings on a per line basis, maybe.
Well, yeah, the simplicity, the savings, the fact that it's the same service, and just like it's easier. You get same service, yeah, and you save.
But the phone subsidies is what's keeping people on postpaid.
Right.
You know.
But again, like if you, and I know most people don't do this, and that's why I try to educate them. But if you really do that math between what a 36-month contract with a phone plan costs you from Verizon for $80, $90 a month versus what, you know, US Mobile is going to cost you with that line plus buying the phone at full price up front, it's going to end up being way cheaper. And again, this is why I try to educate people on this stuff, because they can save thousands of dollars over a few years. You know?
Yeah, it's going to take a handful of years, but I mean, you know, people coming in, they've been upgrading at the carrier for 10 years, right? They've been purchasing, getting subsidies on phones. And then, you know, sometimes when you switch, the carrier's willing to give you a gift card. They're willing to give you bill credits. They're willing to give you a discounted promotional rate on the phone. Like there'll be like 4 things to sweeten the pot, man, sometimes.
Yeah. Well, nowadays it's got to be more competitive because there's much more competition in the industry. The MVNOs, you know, plans are just cheaper nowadays than they were even 3 years ago or 5 years ago or 7 years ago. Much more competition means that there's more drive to deliver value across every carrier. And you know, like I know you've described this before, you've talked about this before. Verizon and AT&T in the past, they would tell customers to go to hell. They would tell the government to, you know, F off, right? Nowadays, there's just so much at stake. A Verizon customer could switch to T-Mobile, a T-Mobile customer could switch to AT&T, an AT&T customer could switch to Boost, right? Or anyone can go between any carrier, right? Porting your number is easy. Switching is usually easy. You swap your SIM card, you have at it, right?
Yeah.
Autopay makes it so you don't even have to think about it. As long as your service works, you just have it.
True. Everything's gotten so streamlined.
Yeah. And because of that, more than ever, customers are more valuable than ever because they're not thinking about it. So if you have a customer that's not thinking about your service and just paying for it, you want to keep that.
Good points, Max. Absolutely. Nice job. Good guys. We covered that pretty well. So transitioning over to this next story, this one from Verizon, named 5G innovation partner for Los Angeles Chargers training facility. Verizon will design and deliver next-gen network infrastructure for the new state-of-the-art LA Chargers training facility and Team HQ. All right, so without the risk of possibly getting demonetized, they've got a picture there of the facility. Looks like some kind of a model of some sort, but yeah, I think this is just another one of those situations where, you know, Verizon is in the catbird seat working with, you know, a partnership with the biggest sports, you know, industry in the world with, you know, American football and the NFL. All right, so under construction in El Segundo, California, now Verizon being the 5G innovation partner with the Chargers specifically, 14-acre property. Verizon's going to probably connect a bunch of wireline, some fiber circuits. They'll be running some private 5G network solutions for the team. So to me, this sounds like the facilities. This sounds like where the visitors will be, where the fans will be, where the players will be. They'll get the whole place hooked up. 145,000 square foot state of the art training facility, 3 natural grass fields, 7,600 square feet of elevated outdoor terrace space, 3,400 square feet elevated outdoor turf area, and they'll have a bunch of cool technological features. You know, they're going to need an IT team, they'll need a connectivity team, they'll need somebody to manage all that, and it's going to be Verizon across the whole thing. This continues to be a strength for Verizon. They continue to partner very deeply with the NFL teams, with the NFL as a whole, with the owners, with the organizations, and you know they're big time advertisers on Sundays. You know, I mean, this has to be a lucrative deal for Verizon for them to be in so deeply with the NFL. Moose, I'll start with you. Is
Well,
in your opinion, I mean, is there something bigger and better than what Verizon has going on with the NFL, or do you think there's something else out there that potentially could be, you know, the next big frontier for these types of partnerships?
well, keep in mind, the 2026 World Cup is on its way, right? And all these big countries will be using the NFL training facilities, um, to train, right? So all the countries that are going to be utilizing the LA Stadium, aka SoFi, right? Um, they're going to need a training facility. So this makes absolute sense, 100%. Um, in terms of the partnership and the marketing play, I think, for the US market, this is big time, right? NFL, there's no other sport bigger in the United States yet, right? So yeah, this is big time. Very, very good news for the Chargers. I just hope that they actually start winning some games, but it's one of those things where, once
Justin Herbert, come on now, let's get it going, please.
exactly, exactly.
Good stuff, Moose. B, let me get you in on this, homie. Go ahead.
Well, it's a good deal. Um, Definitely good to see continued innovation going on. I mean, I think this is the new frontier, like you were saying before. In the competitive environment that we're in right now, it's important for people to feel connected. And of course, I think the macro networks serve the vast majority of customers where they are really, really well across all three networks. You know, it's a growing popular thing to actually have a good network now. You know, 15 years ago, it wasn't. It was only one, maybe two games in town, and everybody else was just kind of flying by the seat of their, seat of their pants. So now it's actually, popular to do your job fairly well from a network standpoint. So that's great. But where do you differentiate? And it looks like Verizon's chosen to differentiate themselves um, with the venues and in-building systems and things of that nature, where the other carriers may or may not have as much coverage and as much attention focused to those places. So it's good to see. This is another opportunity for Verizon to stretch their wings and market their brand in conjunction with and alongside another strong, popular brand with the NFL. So it makes a lot of sense. Um, Probably is a good test bed to be able to test out um, different parameters and different translations and things of that nature, I'm sure. So this is good. It's good for everybody involved. It's good for the Chargers, good for the NFL, good for Verizon, good for the consumer base and business base as well that does business with that particular telco. It's good.
Max, let me ask you like this. Let me frame it this way. When you think of the NFL and a particular carrier, what brand comes to mind?
Very.
So, for the most part, I think the message has been pretty clear, and I think it's landing. Verizon is the name of the game when it comes to the NFL and those partnerships, right?
Yeah,
Do
definitely.
you see that within your market as well, like within your region? Do you see the NFL representing with Verizon?
Oh, I mean, just I guess national games, really, but not necessarily like on a local level.
Oh, okay.
I know
Okay, is
that
there
I know
go
that
oh, go
US
ahead, Max.
I know that US Cellular markets big with local baseball and like the Milwaukee Brewers.
Wasn't it called US Cellular Field at one point?
I don't think so, but they have like a US Cellular playground though.
Ah, okay. All right. So we kind of see the branding, we see the relationship. I mean, the partnership has really been, very much in the forefront on Sundays between 1 and, like 4:30 when the next set of games starts. Zero Cool. We got a 5G innovation partnership between the LA Chargers and Verizon, continuing to see the private networks getting built.
Yep.
In building solutions, they're fitting, 10,000 square foot facilities, multiple fields. This partnership here, I think, is just a microcosm of what, Verizon has with the NFL, but it's really blossomed into something big.
Yeah, I know it has. Verizon is the official NFL partner. You see that on the Super Bowl, pretty much every Super Bowl, and most of the games and stuff like that. So they're their premier partner. And just this is just puts more of a stamp on that, right? So yes, this is the private networking. I can see more training facilities, more stadiums, more NFL related. Um, More NFL related events and using Verizon. I'm surprised that probably even the players have Verizon in their houses. They probably have a special spider cloud in their house or something. Who knows? Yeah, I see this growing. This isn't going to be the only facility that's going to use Verizon. You're going to keep on hearing stories about this. How Verizon is making a huge impact with the NFL. So which is good. It's a good thing.
All right, let's keep it with Verizon and let's pivot over to the next topic. Verizon's new CX leader wants to squash customer pain points. Okay, so one of the first tasks for Brian Higgins and his team involves the use of artificial intelligence, or AI, to deliver the appropriate information to customer care specialists so that they can efficiently help customers. Okay, so with Verizon looking to possibly revamp the customer experience, what they believe can be a competitive differentiator, along with obviously their competitive advantage in networking. Uh, this is the first ever chief of customer experience, the chief customer experience officer. I have to applaud Verizon here. I've been really, really critical of Verizon over the last couple of years. In my humble opinion, they have quickly eroded in customer care and they have become industry worst. As I've had to work through some problems, some have taken me weeks, even months to fix. I honestly have to say, out of the last dozen or so calls I've had to make to Verizon customer care, very seldomly was the solution, available within less than 2 hours. Very seldomly have I gotten to the right department within 30 minutes. I've had problems drag on for weeks and months even, and, I mean, if there's anything that Brian Higgins can do to fix these types of issues, I mean, it is a welcomed sight. I mean, I'm really happy about this. He plans on taking the AI approach to kind of, what I'm guessing will provide efficiencies and then hopefully lead to solutions in a more effective fashion. I think up to this point, people have been frustrated with things that they believe should be able to get fixed very quickly, and they're not getting addressed in a timely fashion. So, according to Higgins, 75% of calls to customer care are a result of something breaking in the experience, often small issues, but nevertheless annoyance to the customer. So, I don't, here's the thing. I don't care if they use AI to streamline customer care. I don't give a shit about how they do it. I care about the fixes. I care about the efficiencies. I care about the time. I care about, like, I want my time to be valued as much as Verizon values their employee time, right? So I think we can all win if things actually start to improve. My only concern is this. I've had some pretty serious issues in dealing with some things through Verizon, and there's no AI solution for those things. No way, no how. They were they were systematic issues. They were, lack of skilled employee issues. Sometimes the employees aren't really empowered to do enough, certain ones. And then sometimes it's, processes are just broken. So if they really think AI can fix those things, then golly, go ahead, have at it. But I do feel like there are certain things that will have to be addressed that have nothing to do with AI and AI will not fix. So, Moose, I'll start with you. What do you think about this new position created at Verizon? Do you think this is the start of a positive direction for this company as they look to take care of some of those customer pain points?
No, it's all smoke and mirrors for me, and I'll tell you why. Because I had a customer the other day that was very frustrated with a fiber situation, right? Like the AI told them, "Oh, you need a new box," you know, and it's like, what? All they needed to do was just restart the router, the modem. That's it. But the AI was like, no, 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 we're gonna send you a new modem, so that you can get up and running again, right? So you're absolutely right. The AI is just a fancy buzzword so that they can be like, oh, we're participating in AI and all this other nonsense, right? But at the end of the day, the only thing that the customer cares about, like you said just right now, and I don't want anybody else to misinterpret what I'm saying, value my time. I don't want to be spending 20 minutes on an AI chatbot just so that my situation doesn't get fixed, right? So it goes back to the whole thing of, if AI is going to actually help the situation, fine. But that's not the customer pain point. The customer pain point is the fact that they feel like they are not being addressed. And if AI doesn't do it, put back a human being into the equation, and then we'll get it done. Give the tools necessary for the customer service representatives to take care of my situation the first time, and then I won't complain. That's basically what people are saying.
Yeah, I don't think customers want to keep going through issues. They like
Right.
to get it, fixed in a timely fashion. I mean, I don't like keeping customer care agents occupied. I'd like to get my problem fixed and then we all move on with our lives, you know? B, let me get you in here.
Um, Anything that Verizon and really any company can do to continue to invest in the customer experience should be something that's applauded. I don't think it's a rubber stamp thing. I think it's a good thing. Um, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't buy into. Well, I don't subscribe to. Or I have a different stance on Verizon's customer care. If you look at their NPS scores, they're comparable with the rest of the industry. I think they're like number one or number two in the industry in overall NPS. So they're really not that bad. A lot of it is just kind of personal experience with which of course I respect, and I don't want to negate that. I don't want to minimize that at all. Anybody's personal experience, but overall, their NPS scores are in line with the rest of the industry. So they're not really doing that much horribly than anyone else. However, to the point of the article, spending more resources to continue to improve customer care is a good thing, and hopefully that serves as a differentiator for Verizon and anyone else who decides to invest in the customer experience. It is important. It is valuable. I'm one of those people. I'd probably call customer care once every 5 or 6 years, if that. It's really not that much of a pain point for me. Anytime that I've called customer care, I've not had any issues. So I mean that's just me. But anything companies can do to improve the customer experience, putting research and development and resources into that is always a good thing. So hopefully this helps things for the consumer.
Max, let me get you in on this.
Yeah, so did you see Carlos' newest video?
Yeah.
Yeah. AT&T Enterprise support is a karaoke hotline, basically. Right? Enterprise. So, like, obviously, it's not just Verizon. But yes, I'm glad that they're making an effort to improve customer service. Because remember when we played our little game? Remember
Mhm.
the build your own carrier?
Yeah.
What category did every single person give the least amount of money to?
This one, customer experience, which is why I think it's an overrated quote unquote pain point. I really, really
Okay,
do. But I
So
respect your point. Go ahead.
okay, so with respect to that game, the reason that we all picked that category to be the worst is because we're thinking from the standpoint of the business. We weren't thinking from what company would we want to do business with. We wanted to think about what company do we want to run as our own company. So every single person gave one to customer support because we really saw it as an afterthought. But when you hear about Sneed's experience, Carlos' experience, right? I just had a disastrous experience with Total by Verizon trying to return that piece of junk gateway box, and I eventually got it figured out after like 3 hours on the phone. I think now more than ever, especially with T-Mobile laying off all these reps, Dish laying off the retail support reps, it's just become an afterthought in the past year or so more than ever. And I'm liking that we're seeing effort in the industry to do better, go back on that.
So here's what you shouldn't need a rep for. You shouldn't need a rep for an eSIM. You shouldn't need a rep for an activation. You shouldn't need a rep for orders, right? What you do need a rep for, apparently, are any type of returns, right? Any type of hardware failures, any type of, you know, swapping of hardware. I'm thinking of all these examples and I'm just like, there's no options through the AI chatbots. There's no options through, stuff like that. Like you need a person to facilitate the process because that process is, first of all, new. And second of all, like multifaceted because it involves an old thing going back and a new thing going out. Right. And then they have to evaluate the account and they have to verify your existence as a human being, right? And someone who's authorized to make changes on the account. So that's where the disconnect seems to be. They're trying to automate something that they can't yet. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and that brings up a point that they should just make it easy on the online account or on the app to swap an eSIM or, activate something, right? T-Mobile, you have to contact customer service to transfer an eSIM from one phone to another. And like you can give it security, right? Most devices and software systems support pass keys, right? You can authenticate it with a fingerprint.
Zero Cool, what's your take on this?
Okay, so nothing. Yeah. Well, I'm going to give a kind of a this is my pessimistic view. I do not like AI. I'm never going to like AI at all. I think Verizon's virtual assistant is the absolute worst. It was horrible when it first came out. I every time I got to call Verizon, I actually skip it, the virtual assistant. You just got to dial 10 zeros and you're done. I don't know. Call me old fashioned. I just like, to work with customer service, the human contact, right? So, I don't know. I get what they're trying to do. If you think about it, they're just gonna have to lay off all these customer care reps anyways once the AI is implemented. So you can kiss all those jobs goodbye, right? So, which is horrible. This is what AI is gonna do. The only fields that are safe from AI is if you're in the food or culinary industry and medical industry. That's it. So all the rest, yeah, we're going to see the carriers, more businesses just starting to use the AI and I don't think it's going to be a fun ride, but it's just a huge cost savings. It's more efficiencies, yes, it's cost savings. It's more transparency, but at to what cost? The cost is the job, the job that was previously worked by a human. So.
Well, that's kind of what the consumers asked for, though. Like they've asked for streamlined, simple processes. They don't necessarily want to talk to a person; they just want to get it done. These conversations are always a bit frustrating for me personally, just because oftentimes it's hypocritical. It's contradictory to what the customer has been asking for. You don't necessarily want to talk to a person. They don't want to go into a store. The door swings at retail locations across the industry and across the country, regardless of industry, are decreasing, not increasing. People are doing things online. They want an automated process. That's what human behavior is is saying. That's what the data says. The data doesn't say people want more human interaction. The data says they want less. Otherwise, the door swings at retail locations, other than grocery stores, wouldn't be going down. I mean, that's what the data says.
You
So
want to hear something crazy, B?
AI is
I,
not
I
going anywhere.
you want to hear
It's
something crazy? I
sure.
used to be one of those people that wanted everything to automate because I wanted, contactless, easy, streamlined. And I'm quickly learning that it doesn't get executed properly. And then you end up needing a person to fix it.
Well, I think that's the reason why, for example,
So you're saying
Verizon
that's
is
why Verizon
spending.
go in that direction,
Yeah,
right?
like seems like that's why they're doing what they're doing in order to try to, fix those broken processes in order to improve things. But it doesn't necessarily mean AI is going away. It's just not. As things get cheaper, which is again what the consumer is asking for, cheap, 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 you have to cut somewhere. And all of us, to what Max was saying, we all had an opportunity to build our own business, and we all ranked customer care last. So that line of thinking isn't, in the minority; it's in the majority. And even us, when we had an opportunity to create our own telco, we did the same thing. So
Hold up, hold up. But that was if there was no need for customer service. Like if there was no need for an escalation, customer service would take a back seat.
well, I mean,
So
well,
go
how
ahead.
often are people calling into customer care for issues now?
Well,
Like
that's what
Sneed,
I'm saying.
Sneed just made an example when he talked about his own experience, and he named some of the things that you don't need a rep for. But how often are devices failing versus what they used to in the past? I mean, I understand you guys' points, and I definitely agree that customer care is extremely important when it's needed. But of the things that customer care will be, needed for, how many of those processes can be automated?
All right,
How many? How
let
many
me
of?
see if you'll agree with this. Be it if a process is broken, does that company deserve to lose that customer to a rival?
Well, it depends on how severe that process is, and what
Three
the.
3 months, 3 months without resolution.
Well, it's up to the consumer. For me, I would
Is
say it's definitely
but
worthy
is it
of
validated?
consideration. I mean, I
But
would say it's definitely worthy of consideration. But how often are those things happening versus what the cost is to fix those things without AI? Like I don't know the answer to that question, but
see,
I know that things like.
I'm not objecting to something getting fixed with AI. If it fixes the problem, it fixes it. I'm not I don't like, to me, the source of the fix, it doesn't matter to me. I think the outcome is the most important thing. What do you think, B?
Well, absolutely. Of course, the outcome is always most important to all of us, but there has to be a means to get there. And so that's why I think it makes sense to put more investment into fixing customer care as far as the processes and the issues and all that kind of stuff. But guys, let's just be honest, AI is not going anywhere. And I mean, it's going to be even more ingratiated and ingrained in society because
Well,
that's what the consumer has asked for. That's what the
They,
consumer at large has asked for.
nah, that's what the investor wants.
we're
No,
the age
no,
of the
no. It's what the
Terminator.
consumer wants as well. It's what the consumer wants as well. It's not just the investor. And I mean, a large majority of consumers are also investors anyway. We all wear multiple hats. So if the investor wants it, we got to assume the customer is probably wanting it as well. So, I mean, I get it. You're right, Sneed. I'm certainly not trying to be a contrarian or anything like that. But, I certainly agree that there are some instances where human interaction is required. That's true, but it's the job of the businesses to work with their customers to determine what those instances are and what resources should be allocated to address those types of things based on how often they come. Period. I mean, it just is what it is. Is what it is.
Shout out to Southwest Ohio Speed Testing, the first super chat of the night, I think. And big salute to Green and Rage and Dusty for coming through, and Brother Ciprioni in the house. Big shout out to Pete. He's also here. If you're doing better than Boost Mobile customer care, you're doing just fine. Shout out to Southwest Ohio Speed Testing. Big salute to you, man. Thank you. Yeah, definitely. Boost is
Dumb
they got issues. Right. Yeah. All right, guys. Next story. this one at AT&T. All right, so I want to start off first by saying on the SMT official Twitter /X page, I get tagged all the frickin' time. People are pissed about the AT&T QCI change. They are absolutely aggravated by the change in experiences. So people who were previously on like what I'm imagining is like a QCI 7 experience have been moved to like, say, for example, one down, which puts them at QCI 8. They have felt a huge substantial change to their network experience. And I think it's more so the folks who don't have access to 5G plus and the C-band and DoD piece. For the folks that are on the the LTE experience and that sort of thing, where the spectrum is limited and you just don't have as much capacity available for everybody. So people are tagging me, they're sharing photos, they're telling me that web pages are having a hard time loading. Their experiences have literally gone from wonderful to disrupted, less than less than what they're used to, and they're pretty pissed. And then AT&T does this whole turbo feature, where you can pay for the extra speed boost at times of heavy usage on the network. And I'm not really the type of person who like feeds into conspiracy theories, but here's what I do know. AT&T is in the process of upgrading their network, and they've done a pretty nice job of keeping their network experience pretty capacitive. I mean, pretty much since the onset of the FirstNet, award to them, as they built out Band 14 and modernized the entire network across the country. And now with 5G plus, I look at the state of Ohio, it's a really nice network build for AT&T. So I can't speak to any type of change in experience. In my experience, the AT&T network continues to improve and get better, and it has been very good. But these are folks that live in places where the network has aged and there aren't new frequencies that have been added. So we aren't seeing the 5G plus radios and antennas in all these places yet. People are pissed, and then AT&T goes and does the turbo feature in which you have to pay $10 for network priority during times of heavy usage. So Moose, I bring you in on this. Those two things kind of coming into all of this. What's your take, or what do you have to add to this the narrative?
So, by the way, the only people that even know about the difference in QCIs are what I like to call the fanatics, right? And realistically, it's only our community that know about what even the hell a QCI is. But I will say this. Business Fast Track has been in the market for several years. We all know what it is, right? QCI 6, both on demand and all the time, right? Depending on the business plan that you're on. But, I have a lot of questions whenever somebody says they're experiencing like significant changes in their QCI because, ladies and gentlemen, it hasn't happened yet. I got confirmation on Thursday that the QCI modification has not happened yet. Will it happen? Yes. But has it happened as of today? No. So
Moose, are people seeing just a lot of usage on the network because AT&T has been growing? They add wireless customers
correct.
all the time.
Well, check this out, Sneed, right? We have now on the AT&T network a significant amount of customers utilizing the core for AIA, right? Internet Air for, Internet Air. In your market, Ohio, Internet Air for Business just got turned on. QCI 7 access, okay? You have a lot more folks getting 5G plus compatible phones, okay? So I feel like whenever somebody tells me, oh, they are seeing a significant decrease, blah, blah, I'm like, where exactly are you seeing this decrease? Is it a specific time of the day? Is it in a specific sector? Is the sector being upgraded? There's so many questions, so many variables. But what I can say is this. There are certain cell sites that currently are waiting to be turned on with 5G plus, but they're waiting for the 10 gig backhaul upgrade. Okay, a significant amount. Okay, that are waiting for the 10 gig backhaul upgrade. So you will see a significant increase, both not just because of the 5G plus, but also because of the fact that the 10 gig backhaul will be turned on, and that will also be added for the traditional sub-6 frequencies, right? Now, in terms of the turbo feature itself, I think this is beautiful for a lot of folks that want higher level access than what they even know about. Because remember this, guys, the average consumer has no idea what a QCI is. What they understand is they press a button, they'll have better connectivity. Okay. And I mean, that's pretty simple, right? Self explanatory. Now, the contrarian view of this is, oh, why do you have to upcharge for QCI? Ladies and gentlemen, Verizon has been the first one to do this. And let me explain. Verizon is the one that has to charge additional monies for a higher level video prioritization, correct? AKA, the standard is 720p. You have to
Yeah,
pay for everything
that's
above.
true. Right.
That's first fact. Okay, that's the first fact. Second fact here is anytime that you have to pay for additional network capacity capabilities like unlimited hotspot or even more hotspot, everybody does that. There's no situation there. So if people are saying that this is the first time that you're paying for prioritization, I believe that people need to remind themselves that other carriers have done this for
Well,
years.
Moose, so you brought up Verizon, and then if you go back to when Verizon first launched 5G, remember it was millimeter wave, and you had to pay for it.
Right.
It was $10. So there was a version where some people may have been paying $10 for millimeter wave access, 5G ultra wideband, and for the HD when you're off of the ultra wideband.
Right.
Yeah, so they might have been paying an additional $20.
Well, I know that $10 was quickly done away with by Verizon because customers complained, obviously. But to Moose's point, I'm of the opinion that you're not entitled to the latest and greatest from any carrier without paying more. If a carrier produces gigabit speeds wirelessly for the first time in human history, they should be allowed to charge for that service because the customers never experienced or had access to that service at scale before at that level. So what's the purpose of innovating if you're a telco if you can't charge more for your innovation? It
Well,
doesn't
no,
make sense.
these users, in this case, are saying that their experiences have degraded so much that I mean, and then AT&T comes out with a turbo feature, and they're like, "What the hell?"
So I'm trying to draw the correlation then between charging for higher HD than 720p and a slower network experience because that was what Moose was saying as a comparison.
Well, yeah,
If
yeah.
you're
So
charging someone for a
right.
better network experience, then how is that a good example of what we're talking about? Because, like for example, your article is talking about a worser network experience, not a better one. And my argument is for a better one. So to Moose's point, if a higher quality HD is made available and there's an upcharge for it, I can't confirm it, and I'm not sure what the new price plans are. I thought that was included in the newer price plans. But if that's the case, I see no problem with a company, with a for-profit business charging more for a better product.
I think what
what's
Moose is
supposed to
saying is
happen.
that there's a precedence of an upcharge. That's all he's saying. He's not saying that whether or not Verizon should or shouldn't. He's
I mean,
saying that they have, so there's precedence of the the upcharge.
supersized French fries cost more than smalls at McDonald's, Burger King. I mean, what are we? Come on, man. I mean, you want
By the
more
way,
fries, you got to pay a little bit more. I don't know what to say. I mean,
just to clarify really quick, we're only talking about the QCI upcharge, right? The turbo feature. There's no video upcharge at this time.
well, I mean, I respect your point, and that's why I said what I was saying. To your point, I see nothing wrong with the turbo feature being built, and any carrier charging more for a better network experience. Now, if for whatever reason that network experience is degraded, and whatever the case may be, that doesn't negate the fact that a company should be able to charge more for a better product, fix the congestion or whatever the problem is, and then continue with your business as far as charging more if that's what you want to do. As long as it's reasonable and it's fair and it's affordable to the vast majority of people, I don't see any problem with it. Everything's not going to be one size fits all. You purchase a gallon of milk, it's probably going to be more expensive than if you purchase half a gallon.
Right.
That's
So
an
be
upcharge. That's what pet and whatever milk company what you want to. That's what they do.
be
But for
you're look
whatever reason, in the telco space, it's like a cardinal sin to charge for a gallon of milk more than if you sell a half a gallon. It doesn't make any sense to me.
you're looking at this in a vacuum though. You're looking at it as if we didn't have what we had before. You're looking at it as okay, they're upcharging for a higher product, but they had that higher product at the previous price before. And this is something I mentioned in my video about this because I did extensive testing. Uh, to my understanding, they have already implemented the QCI changes. I've seen too much to say otherwise. What I explained in the video was like, okay, AT&T is putting a lot into fiber, obviously, so wireless has become an afterthought. Expanding their network has become an afterthought. Ask me, ask EM, ask a lot of other people.
Well, I wouldn't say an afterthought. If think about it like this, right? If you're in a Nokia market today, you will be slightly delayed on the upgrades because the first upgrade that has to happen is your conversion to Ericsson, right? The next upgrade that happens immediately, right? Hopefully, is the C band upgrade in that same situation. So I understand that a lot of folks on the panel may not be in an Ericsson market, but they will soon be in an Ericsson market within the next 2 years. So, the first couple markets, just so you know, are the ones that are being prioritized for the World Cup. Think about it. Those are your flagship markets for 2026. New York City, huge market that needs to be upgraded for Ericsson.
Hey, Moose, we got a super chat here from Stephen Smith and a question from a couple of members here with Rage and Dusty. If they're interested in trying this for testing purposes to see what it does for their experience, where do they go to find the feature, activate it, and turn it on and pay
I don't
for it?
think it's even publicly active yet. I think honestly the situation was that
It's not.
the
It was going to be
developer,
built into the app, wasn't it?
the
Yeah.
developer accidentally put that description early, right?
Ah,
That's
so
what
it
I
was kind
think
of a leak,
happened.
a
Yeah,
feature leak.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Ah, okay.
because think about it like this, right?
Thanks, Steven.
If the QCI change would have happened, the feature would have been already available because they want to start monetizing, right? It just makes sense.
But
But from my
what we've seen, Moose, is people are showing the QCI changes on Network Guru on the rooted phones. They're starting to see that already
Yeah,
changed.
but remember, we've had this conversation from a T-Mobile perspective. There is no QCI on T-Mobile, but yet it's still saying QCI 6, 7, 8, whatever the hell they're saying.
So that could
So
just be programming.
I don't believe anything from an external app that's not internal sources,
As a tool.
right? As a tool. If my people are saying that it hasn't happened yet, I have to go by their word.
Yeah, I
What
hear you.
other
Yeah.
proof do I got?
True. That's true. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'll be honest with you. I think that's the best way to go until we hear otherwise.
But I will say this though, right? QCI 7 will be baked in to the same plan structure. It's just going to be now a feature, right? Like, so for example, right? Turbo, quote unquote, is nothing different than business fast track from what I've been told, right? All it is that you can now either pay for it, turn it on at your convenience, or have it permanently on if you pay for the most expensive plan, which you already have. So it's nothing new in a sense. However, people that are on starter or on extra that don't have access to QCI 7 could potentially pay for QCI 7 in a short burst situation when they need it on demand. This goes back to the whole thing back 2017, 2018, where you have this a la carte plan. We've talked about this, Sneed, right? Where you have a plan, a bare bones plan, and then you add features on it, right? That was the goal, right? A long time ago. Just never happened because it's too expensive to do. And by the way, this sets the precedent for other carriers to do similar things.
Really?
Yes. I have my sources at T-Mobile.
Okay, so who does it first?
So
If
I have my
AT&T
sources.
goes,
Yeah,
who does it first? T-Mobile or Verizon?
T-Mobile. I have my sources at T-Mobile saying that this feature is another one of their add-on type of strategies, so they can upcharge the customer without having to necessarily impact their rate plan.
See, this is interesting, Moose, and I'm going to tell you why I'm going to push back on Verizon. They've gone ahead and created a dedicated QCI for 5G ultra wideband.
Right.
So B, let me get you in on that. What do you think?
What's wrong with that, Sneed? Like, what are your thoughts? I mean, what's wrong with that?
No, I don't think there's anything wrong. I'm saying the way that Verizon structured their network QCI, why? I mean, they've even made their plans so that you pay for 5G ultra wideband, so that essentially is turbo. Why would they create a feature that you already have built your entire premise of your network experience through?
I mean, I wasn't under the impression that you still had to pay for 5G ultra wideband outside of just picking a plan that includes it. Is that what you're? Is that what, I guess?
Right,
Okay.
you got to be on a certain plan, right? So I don't get
Okay,
5G.
all right.
So like let's say I have a AT&T plan from 2017. It has all 5G access to it. I don't have to pay $10 for it. So to
Okay.
me, that like that's what Verizon did when they structured 5G ultra wideband. They basically said, if you have 5G ultra wideband, this is the bee's knees on the network, but you're going to have to be on a modern plan that supports it, or you're paying for it.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Okay. I mean, and to that, I would agree. Again, companies should be compensated for increasing innovation and offering a better product. And if a customer is willing to pay for that, then that's great. So I don't know. This is my opinion.
You guys want the Mac Daddy answer?
Yeah, go ahead,
Zero
Zero.
cool.
It is.
Get in on this. Get in on
Here
this.
it is. Here it is. Here's the reason. So the reason why they have this turbo feature, yes, is for the fee, but it's used to pay for the Ericsson upgrades nationwide. Okay, that's the only freaking reason why they're doing this.
The ghost of Randall. Oh god.
The second point that I want to make is once the Ericsson evolution is done across the United States, once the 5G plus or whatever Ericsson decides to call at that point is done across the United States, this will go away in the blink of an iOS app update. Okay, then you won't be. Then they'll say, oh, we don't need it anymore. This is the only reason why. And my third point is bring back Randall, please. Bring back Randall.
All right, so hold on. Obviously, the money they get from these turbo add-ons is going to go to buying Dish's assets because obviously they're in the market.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's
going to go to something. Yeah,
it's just about increasing revenue. I mean, I don't know what it's going to pay for. I really don't care. It's just about increasing
They're
revenue.
in the market.
They're a business.
They're in the market for more spectrum. They're in the market.
Well, I mean, every telco is. So I mean, I hope AT&T is getting involved because they got the least amount of the big three as far as mid-band spectrum is concerned. But I mean, AT&T is trying to increase revenues. I mean, every telco is. So this is an example of that. I don't have a problem with it.
B, quick question on this one. Quick question on this one. If Verizon comes out on the My Plan, right, $10 add-on, right, highest, level prioritization, QCI 7, whatever, right? Would that be a big deal?
No, it's just it's business. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. Just like I don't have a problem with AT&T creating a turbo feature or whatever they want to call it. I mean, okay, if you're going to build a network that's providing a better experience than what customers have previously had access to, you should be able to charge more for that. I mean, why not?
I just don't like when
Look,
they charge
I've
for
said
what
in the
used to be
past, I've said in the
Used to be
past that prior to Verizon's 5G ultra wideband, the best network experience I was having was on AT&T, and it didn't matter the frequency. It didn't matter if it was 700 or if it was 850 or if it was PCS or AWS or whatever. AT&T's network access was the bee's knees
It was awesome.
basically for the last 5 years.
Yeah, under
And
Randall.
no, it was after Randall. It was under Stanky. Stop it. But
You know, Stanky's gonna use all this extra money for the more pizza
oh,
parties.
come on,
Okay.
dog.
Alright.
But Chacha, we're only talking about a minor QCI change for you in your situation. You shouldn't see any difference.
I've never felt. I'll be honest with you. The network continues to get better and better, and it's been good.
But we have, again, like I've been saying, on the Twitters, on X, we got people on Reddit.
Moose,
We
let
got
me
even
ask you
people on
something.
this
Moose,
chat. They're
are you,
definitely.
Moose, are you monitoring the situation? Do you see the sentiments from folks reporting this?
Chacha, I've been seeing from CNET literally the day of Blumenthal commenting, "Oh, this is crazy," blah blah.
Okay, hold on a second, bro. Who the hell is
Right.
Blumenthal? Who is that?
Blumenthal, the guy from CNET.
What is he saying?
He posted an article the day of. You didn't see it? Go to CNET.
What was the sentiment?
The way that it was kind of perceived was like, "Oh, this is crazy. Why are they charging extra money?" Right?
Oh, okay.
But again, it goes back to maybe some customers don't want to pay from a starter plan to the premium plan.
Right.
So they want to do it on demand access. You know?
That's interesting. So they're not interested in a premium plan, but they want a premium feature that they could pay for separately?
That they can pay on demand whenever they need it. For example, right? Let's say they're at a busy mall, or they're at an airport, or they're at a farmer's market, where this is not typically what they do every day, right? But they want, for that period of time, higher priority access. These are some of the use cases that I'm talking about, right? Those are the cases where people would literally press the button and they would turn on the feature.
So that would be prioritized calling, texting, all data sessions, including like 5G hotspot and stuff like that.
Think of data sessions, right? Because calling is already at the maximum priority, right? Calling is, just call. But I'm talking about if you need hypothetically access to a live, like you want to do a live stream, right? And you're on a starter plan. You upgrade to a short period of time QCI 7, boom, you're in.
Moose, I'm starting to think that really the only people that are going to be impacted by any type of QCI change are the folks that don't have a 5G plus network build yet. They're in those markets where things just haven't really happened at this point, and it's just going to take a little bit of time for those upgrades to occur, because everywhere I go, AT&T's got the 5G plus and we're cooking with gas. 5, 6, 7, 800 megabits is very common. I'm seeing gigabit speed sometimes at some of these tower sites.
Right.
So hold on. I know that, just me is like, kind of like an isolated test, but what I found just in my testing is when I was at home getting the old LTE stuff, I put all three plans side by side and they got like the same results. And then when I went to Green Bay where they had the 5G plus and 77, it was like extra and premium were the same, and then starter was like 8 times slower.
So you're saying the difference is between QCI 7 and QCI 9, not so much QCI 8.
No, because this was after the change, which already happened, and premium and extra were on the same QCI 8, and then it was next to QCI 9, which was so much slower.
Now, keep in mind, right, the differences between 8 and 9 should not be 8 times. That just means that there's that many more customers in that area.
Well, I'm sure there are.
Because the differences between the levels are like this, right? Imagine 8 is your standard, right? 7 is 2 times the speed. And you can even do a speed test. QCI 8 versus QCI 7. It is exactly like I'm saying. It's 2 times. Now, QCI 6 is 4 times, right? I've been able to see in videos from Sneed and others that FirstNet is 4 times as fast. You know, Cha-Cha Sneed has the experience straight hand on the videos.
Yeah, it's more prevalent and easy to see, Moose, on the LTE.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, QCI 9, right, is the bare bone, but there's further differentiation coming, right? Further differentiation coming. Because think about it. If you're paying for a prepaid line, do you deserve to be at the same level as a postpaid line?
Well,
This
that's
is the
just
same.
No,
okay. Hold on.
no,
Stop. B.
no,
B.
you don't.
This
I'm
is
not
the
doing this today.
this is the
B. I'm
same
not doing this
BS.
today.
This
No,
is
you
the same
don't.
BS of if you're a T-Mobile customer,
BS.
why are you getting top level prioritization for a free line? This is insane. It's blasphemy.
I completely
So
agree.
here's the thing.
Moose is
So
right.
talking about all right. So that brings up a good point about prepaid versus postpaid. The only difference between prepaid and postpaid is when you're paying for the service, either before or after.
That's not true.
Sir, it can.
That's
It
not true.
has, and the industry has made it out to be cheaper, lower quality service, but realistically, you can
But
get this
it is
exact same
cheaper.
access.
But it
No,
is cheaper service.
it's cheaper because it's simpler, it's easier.
No, it's cheaper because it's prepaid.
It's cheaper
And so
because
if it's going to be cheaper, why should it be the same experience as a postpaid customer? Why would it? I don't understand that.
the only difference between the prepaid plan and the postpaid plan is the phone subsidy and the perks.
And the
That's it.
price. And the price.
And the price. Okay.
So with
I
that
think
being said,
prepaid
if you're
customers
going,
should get the same access.
no, absolutely not. Absolutely,
They
that
should.
doesn't make any business sense at
Hey,
all.
so let me propose this. Can we have a prepaid premium plan?
Yeah,
Sure.
exactly.
Of
Exactly.
course,
as
but
long
it's
as
more money.
as
Exactly.
long as you pay more. I mean, I don't see. At the end of the day, as long as you pay a reasonably fair price, and it needs to be more, I'm fine with that. But
Right.
I'm also of the opinion that that premium prepaid price should still be cheaper and have a lesser experience than the postpaid premium plan.
Man,
Otherwise,
why is
go to
that?
hell.
because it's prepaid service, so the customer isn't deepening a relationship with you unless they're going postpaid. So why would you give a person who's not willing to fully invest in a particular company the same access as a customer who is? That
So
doesn't make any business sense at all.
you're acting like postpaid is the final frontier. A lot of people
But it is like
no
that's the premium experience.
we,
And if it's not going to be the premium experience, then get rid of it.
this is what
But
I spend my entire time educating people on is that you can get the same experience for a cheaper price and save a lot of money. Okay? That's what I spend all my time doing is educating people on that through my videos.
but that's a bad business practice. My point is that the business practice should change. In years past, what I'm articulating is exactly how it was. Prepaid,
Okay.
you pay a cheaper price for the consumer who wants to do that. That's fine, but there's no business reason why a prepaid customer should ever get the same exact experience from a network standpoint as a customer on postpaid. It
You
doesn't
all,
make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
What I'm getting at is that more people want the simplicity and the ease of prepaid more than the complexity and the contracts of postpaid.
More people want to pay less. And
here's
that makes sense, and that's fine. But if you want to pay less, you should not get the same experience as the customer
Okay,
who's paying more.
or we're back to square one here. It's not just about paying less. It's simpler. It's easier. You don't have to run through a credit check, which is inconvenient. You don't have to get locked into a contract on a new phone. One thing after another.
The
So
credit check, the credit check with telcos isn't even a hard check. Most of the time, the carrier just checks to see if you owe them money. That particular carrier, it's not even a full. It doesn't even show up as a soft check. So I mean, I don't think that's it. People just want to pay less, and that's
let me say
fine.
this. Let me say this really quickly because I'm trying to also add to your point here. If Apple, okay, the biggest OEM in the United States by a long shot, okay, Apple, okay, if Apple straight up does not allow you to carrier finance with prepaid companies and does not allow you to do the iPhone upgrade program directly from them with a prepaid company, they have to be on a postpaid plan. That tells you everything you need to know. That you are paying a postpaid plan for the benefits of the security of that company. Prepaid, we don't even know if you are a legitimate person. You could put whatever name there. You could be a drug dealer for all you know. Who knows?
Be Santa Claus.
It could be anybody. You could even
Tony
put
Stark.
the address as the damn store that you signed up for.
Is that
Who
my guy
knows?
EM? Is that my guy EM?
What up?
That's
What
my
up?
guy
I
EM.
made it back. I made it back to talk about the topic I've been waiting to talk about all week.
What up,
Oh
EM?
my God, B, come on, we got to talk about this, B.
I'm
Like
I'm
this is
No, no, no.
crazy.
He's
porting,
no,
I'm
no,
porting my
no.
shit out,
On this,
dude.
on
I'm
this
done with
moose,
AT&T's bullshit. I'm porting my
on
lines out, dude.
but no, seriously, on
Let's
this
go.
particular topic, Moose, I agree with you. I mean, I think I'm on your side on this, man. I agree.
All right. Yeah. Why are you
What up?
ditching the American thugs and thieves?
Ain't talking and texting.
Yeah.
I'm porting my lines out, dude.
Who you going to?
Port my lines back to Verizon. Keep T-Mobile as a backup because they pissed me off with this QCI change.
Yes, that is a great move. That's how I
Okay,
had mine
so
set up.
if you could speak to the indicators, the things that you've seen and experienced, because currently we don't believe that anything officially has happened on the network side, but people are reporting the experiences are changing.
I don't buy that. I have inside sources at AT&T that told me when it was happening, and when it happened, I noticed a difference, and so did a lot of people. So I don't buy that at all.
I mean, I'm getting tagged like
Agreed.
all the time, man, on Twitter. Like people are like, dude, web pages, photos, like places where things used to work great. Now we're having hitches
So
and
I can answer that question on the RAN side. So whenever a QCI change is implemented, it's done on the RAN side. Okay. So with that, it's based off of a couple of things, your profile that you have the network and also your roaming. Okay. It's a and
but
you have
aren't they
to
gonna feel it in their ping zero cool like
you.
up rip? Like
But
it's gonna be the latency piece.
what I'm trying to say is that the QCI has to be implemented first before the app. Okay. You cannot do the app before the damn QCI. All right. That's my point. So when AT&T, whenever they do that change in the QCI, that's when it's going to happen. And when all the app does is just send like quote unquote like a signal to saying, hey, okay, this customer has paid $10. We're now going to bump up his QCI on the network, but the QCI obviously has to be implemented first at the core level. That's it.
I still think AT&T is taking a huge risk, outsourcing the core, doing this whole Ericsson thing. I hope they know what they're doing.
It's yeah. I mean, this is here's the thing. Like the Ericsson RAM people, they do know their stuff. The problem lies in, because I had to deal with this when I was at T-Mobile. All right, this is very relevant. They do not know the network, meaning the carrier network, on an intimate level. You can't tell a guy out in Timbuktu in India, okay, here's how my network I want it to be. Please run the parameters and do it. It doesn't paint a good picture, and I've had personal issues with that when I used to work at T-Mobile. Okay, it doesn't work good. That's number one. Number two, I mean, yes, it's a great concept in theory, but if you don't have the right engineers behind it at Ericsson, things they can fall apart. So, but I think me personally, I think those issues will get ironed out. It will get ironed out upon the build. So when you have this build going on, yes, you'll run into issues saying, oh, okay, this parameter needs to be changed, or that, and the other. So it will get ironed out. It's going to be, it's going to be
Painful.
little headaches here and there, for customers, not big headaches. So don't think of like, if what the Sprint merger comes to mind. It's not going to be like that. This is just going to be, little pockets here and there. But all in all, I think it's a good thing. But again, you have to have the engineers behind it to actually make it worth a damn.
We'll
All right,
see.
we're gonna play a little game here. I'm gonna take a round robin approach. I'm gonna ask all of you here on the panel. All right, we're gonna take Ricky's lineup here. He said Verizon 1, T-Mobile 2, Dish 3, and AT&T is last now. EM, is that fact or cap, sir?
You know what? just because I want to be on Ricky's vibe today, I'm going to say that's fact.
Oh shit. Zero cool. Verizon 1, T-Mobile 2, Dish 3, AT&T is last now. Fact or cap?
Cap, no, it's false. I don't agree with that. It should be Verizon, T-Mobile, then AT&T, then Dish, because Dish is a dumpster fire, and we're not
run a network to save their skin. Just because you have it good in one area doesn't mean it's going to be good in others. Now, here's the thing with Dish. I know we're going to probably talk about them later on. They did complete their FCC build-up requirements early, so they're now an official carrier. But God help them. That's all I gotta say.
All right, B. Verizon 1, T-Mobile 2, Dish 3, AT&T is last now. Fact or cap?
Cap. Ain't no way I'm putting T-Mobile over AT&T. It's not gonna happen.
Moose, you see the comment. What's your take? Fact or cap?
Oh, this is absolute cap. Because, see, T-Mobile is below even Dish, in my opinion.
Damn.
That's how serious I am about this situation. Okay? And I think even B is going to agree with me on that one. And we rarely agree. I mean, T-Mobile is the bottom for me, straight up.
Oh, shit.
They're not good.
What about their 2.5? Their 2.5.
Bro, they have a very fast and large 5G network.
It's not large. So it's the smallest in the industry, and it's fast, and that's great. But networks aren't graded just off of speed. Performance and overall performance and reliability are what keep people on a network, not a bunch of speed.
Right, but I got T-Mobile's network larger than Dish's.
That's true. I'll give them number 3, but that's last among the MNOs. I don't count Dish as an MNO yet.
Well, the FCC does.
I don't care what the FCC says. On that
Well, by the
particular
way, we
thing.
got to talk about the FCC here. Tonight, we really got to address what bombshell they put in. Because all fixed wireless is out the door nowadays, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get to that later. I hope, Sneed, you're going to talk about it later. The broadband reclassification.
For the what is considered to be high
Correct.
speed.
We got to talk about it. We have to talk about it.
Okay. All right. Well, we got to do this first, bro. This one is. It's getting bad, Moose. It's getting bad.
JPA Networking Adventures.
Oh man, this is a big one.
You gotta stop. Y'all gotta stop with this line on these. Come on, man.
Dish has more 5G than Verizon.
Come on, man. Come on.
What?
Man.
What?
Wow. We just gotta stop.
No.
We just gotta stop with the stupid comments, man.
That is the biggest cap.
Bro, lay off the drugs.
That is the biggest cap.
No, Josh coming for blood tonight, bro, because he knows they cover 70% of the pops in the U.S.
Stop it. They cover 35%, and everybody else is in 50+%.
No, the FCC just approved them 75%.
Stop it.
What the hell?
They did. They just did it last, I think, a week or two ago, actually.
Oh, okay, so now we trust what the FCC. You know what?
I'm just saying.
I'm not gonna get mad. I'm not gonna get mad tonight. I've done a very good job.
No,
let's
they
move on.
suck. They suck.
You really yelled at me about prepaid.
Carriers,
I wasn't yelling. I talked to you with a regular voice. I wasn't yelling.
I'm
not the clear eyes guy. I don't talk monotone.
I'm gonna agree with B on this one. B, you have backup tonight on this one. That is some massive cap.
Yeah,
and that's some blasphemy. I don't even know what to say. Dish has more 5G than Verizon? No.
Dish is a dumpster fire, yo.
No, impossible.
B, you're gonna get buried in Hans Gator shoes. You're gonna be like, all right, put the Gator shoes on before you put me in, and then engrave Hans and Manon's face.
Dish.
I don't really want to talk about my death. I mean, I'm still a pretty young guy.
B, Verizon just passed 260 million C-band. Okay, the blasphemy that these people are saying is just insane to me today. I don't even know what to say anymore.
I thought it was I thought it was a little bit meant it tongue in cheek. I didn't think he was trying to say like definitively. I think he's making a point that they have a native 5G network. It's a greenfield 5G build, and 70% of the US has access to it.
Barely. With what phones?
Well, that's a different set of issues. We could name 7 things that are on fire over at that company.
Well,
70% of the US, but you got to have one of 3 phones that is approved for
Yeah.
access on the network.
also hold on. They are expanding that selection, and they are also migrating customers to it. And now they have the iPhone 15 for $400, which I know they can't afford to do, but they're making the effort to get people on phones that are compatible.
Yeah, all their phones are on dumpster fires that you got to reach out.
All right,
iPhone
guys.
15?
Let's pivot. Let's pivot. T-Mobile is going to introduce more fees for customers, this time hitting the prepaid side. All right, so
It's like both postpaid and prepaid are the same.
well, that was the point I was making in my last video, Max. Did you catch it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought to myself, this fee first existed, the device connectivity charge. Basically, when you went into the T-Mobile store, you did an activation, they charge you $25 just to get you to like check in and do a SIM activation.
And now it's up to 35.
Yeah, exactly. So now it's going to be this cost going to the prepaid side. Now they made any purchase at a T-Mobile store is now $35, right?
The fee.
So if it's what is it, home internet, phone lines, whatever, they're hitting you with a fee. So the device connection charge has now been extended. They're going to throw it over to the prepaid customer as well. I don't know if it happens online. I don't know if it's store only. I don't know. But they got a whole lineup of literature of what customers are going to hear from employees, and stuff like that. But as of March 21st, which is next week, no matter the SIM type, there's a one-time device connectivity charge of $25. And I don't know what AT&T charges for this, or if they do, and I don't know what Verizon does, if they do or not, but something tells me that this would be the priciest of all of them. At least in
what's a real
prepaid.
slap in the face is they just discounted the postpaid ones to $5 per line for a limited time deal. This news website, tmo.report, they covered that.
So let me ask you this, Max. You think this is just simply going to exist so that they could run a promo or possibly waive it to be nice sometimes?
I think so, honestly, because like Metro has a $25 activation fee per line right now, but right now for tax season they got 0 activation fees. Look how kind we are. Eugene's armpits are totally fine, right?
I mean, what does it matter? I mean, the customer, they're still going to grow by 1 million lines next quarter. So the customer doesn't care about these things. This lets me know, all this extra growth and everything after these crazy.
But haven't we
announcements and stuff.
established, B, that the prepaid customer is cost sensitive? Like, doesn't this seem kind of counterproductive?
Until the lines decrease, they're not cost sensitive. They're not. T-Mobile has increased pricing in more ways than one. They charge you to pay your bill in the store. They do all these things, and then they announce quarter after quarter after quarter 1 million lines worth of growth. Customer doesn't care. I mean, why not AT&T and Verizon do the same exact thing? I mean, the customer doesn't care. It's 1 million lines every quarter.
T-Mobile's prepaid churn is like 2.24%. It's really low.
Yeah, but look at how many people are getting on every quarter now, Chacha. I mean, think about it. We have all these migrants in just New York City alone, right? We have Chicago, right? El Paso,
LA,
right? We have a bunch of folks
Texas,
coming in
yeah.
hot. Florida, right? I mean, there was just the other day that there was a boat seized, and that was a couple hundred folks right there. But the point is that these fees for the average American, it's tough to swallow, man. But to B's point.
Well, so do you know who has the highest prepaid churn right now?
Hold on. 1 second. Let me just finish the 10 seconds. But to B's point, if T-Mobile is going to do this, everybody should do it.
Why not?
Yeah, it's like how sweaty can the armpits get, right? That's what it is. That's the truth. Look at this.
So,
what's he thinking? Fees for prepaid? Are you insane? Like what goes through his mind? This is just
what goes through his mind is that he continues to do these things and they continue to grow. So how's he wrong, right? How's he wrong?
I just think it's a crappy way to do it. Find some other ways to grow, not rip off customers. That's all.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, fees aren't always a ripoff.
They are. So I got
They are a
They're
ripoff.
They're not. No, they're not. No, they're not. Not if the customer continues to pay them. It's not a ripoff if the customer continues to pay.
Yo, Max is coming for your head tonight, bro.
Dude, he doesn't
I
have
don't.
a
I mean, I don't
choice.
care. I mean, it is what it is. If the
Dude.
customer is going to continue to pay, then T-Mobile can't be wrong.
Dude,
We can't have it both ways.
stop yelling, or else you're going to be in that coffin with the gator
Yo,
shoes
speak
sooner.
up. I don't know what to tell you, man. This is how I talk, yo. Speak up. I'm a grown man. What you want me to do, man?
Oh my
You
god.
got the Barry Manilow voice on, like, speak up. What do you want me to do?
Alright. So, two things. So, how many of you saw Stetson
Louder,
Doggett's,
bro.
like,
Come on.
so how many of you saw Stetson Doggett's old, like, Metro activation video? He mentioned that, like, at the time you could only get a line in store. They had a $2 convenience fee to pay your bill in store, and he went off about it, bro. He was like, that's ridiculous.
Because no other business was doing that.
Yeah, so I just recently signed up for Metro. Now it's like $4 or $5, and I sent that to him, and he was like, "Yeah, I guess not much has changed with them."
Yeah, does it cost that same fee to pay the bill online?
No, if you pay online or over the phone or with auto pay, there's no fee.
Well, there we go. Then there's a way for you to avoid the fee. There you go.
Or you see, we have folks.
Okay, but
by the way,
here's the thing: there's people that can only pay in cash, and so they go to the store and then they have to pay the fee.
So
All right. Well, I mean, then
there
they
you
pay
go.
the fee. Then they pay the
There's
fee.
the fee.
Right?
Yeah.
They pay the fee.
Think about it like this, guys. Right?
So if you don't
you're
have a checking account, you're discriminated against?
That's discrimination?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's discrimination, Chuck.
I don't
Really?
think it's discrimination.
Really?
This is just the facts of the business, dog.
I feel like it's like those like really horrible like loan stores that charge like 400% interest. It's like they're capitalizing on a bad situation.
If you go to a grocery store to get your check cashed out, right? Like you're going to be cashing out a check. They do a fee on that, right? B, am I crazy or what?
Yes,
you
they
hear
do.
me, right?
Yeah, they
Right?
do. It's a fee.
Right? They charge a fee. Okay. The bank, if you don't have a direct deposit, charges a fee for your checking account, right? Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. The brokerage account has a fee every month. The 401k has a fee. Everybody has fees. The thing that I get pissed off about is that we are not doing everything the same. As in, if T-Mobile is going to be doing all these fees, why isn't Verizon doing it? Why isn't AT&T doing it?
Yep.
This is
And that's
crazy.
the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying, because the fees are bad when AT&T and Verizon does them, but for whatever reason, T-Mobile has done fee after fee after fee, and they continue to grow quarter over quarter over quarter over quarter. So
No,
I mean,
we've been
people
calling it
are
out every
talking.
time, B.
Yeah, but they're not talking with their wallets though, Sneed. People are still. That's still. You just called them the grower in the industry. Like those are your words. So if that's the case and that's the truth, then how pissed off is the consumer really about these fees? They're not, Sneed.
Yeah, be a
People
grower, not a
vote.
shower.
People vote with their wallets. They definitely don't vote at the ballot box, but they will vote with their wallet. And they're saying with their wallets, these fees must not be that bad because they're the grower of the industry, right, Sneed?
Yeah.
So if that's the
they
case,
grow
then
the most.
why can't Verizon and AT&T do the same things? Because everybody's
Shout
trying to increase their revenue.
Shout out to Big Sep. Thanks for the super chat, bro. He said Sweaty Eugene got more homes to buy. He said if you don't have an account with a bank, they charge you a fee for cash and check.
But Cha-Cha, seriously, right? Let's no cap on anything of this. Are we out of touch, or are we talking the same way that T-Mobile's thinking, man? Because this is crazy to me. B and I are on the same page for the first time in months.
And you've been on the same page all night. Shit's crazy.
It's ridiculous to me, man. Like, I cannot believe. Look, that's what I've been saying from the longest time. I feel like the fanatics, which is not bad, by the way, I don't take it in the negative sense, but the only people that are complaining about this are the fanatics. And the regular people that pay these fees, they don't give a damn. I mean, am I crazy or what?
My question to you guys is very simple. Who else charges this in the industry, and what compelled T-Mobile to do it now?
Nobody. And question number two, because they can. Because they haven't suffered tremendous amounts of losses with any of the other fee hikes that they impose, or the extra stuff, or the pay your bill in store and pay extra. The customer hasn't penalized them for any of these things. So why are you guys penalizing them?
No, here we
Again,
go.
people
Here
people,
we go.
people
Here's their
vote with
next
their
fee.
wallet,
I'm going to charge you $5 to even set foot in the store. $5 fee.
and people are still doing business with that
That-
company. So how are they wrong?
This is horrible.
No, it's not.
You know what's crazy though? Look, my personal opinion, Zero Cool, is you're absolutely right. This is bad.
I agree.
But from a business perspective, if nobody's complaining, to B's point, nobody's complaining, nobody's leaving, let's just do it.
Yep.
Put all the fees you want. If T-Mobile's doing it, why can't Verizon and AT&T do it?
They have the most expensive plan in the industry. They got all these fees. So why can't AT&T and Verizon do the same things? Why not? But every time Verizon raises fees or AT&T raises plans or whatever the case may be, it's industry leading news, and but these guys have been feeing people to death for at least the last year and a half. At
Well,
least.
if you're getting something better or something more for the additional cost, I don't have a problem with it. I think this is one of those fees that's like they're just trying to get people out of prepaid and getting them to look at postpaid. They're going to make them say, "Well, damn, what's the hell's the point of being on prepaid if I'm going to be paying as much as postpaid?"
Well, if it works, do it.
To
If
me,
it works, right?
it seems like a transitional, push.
Yeah, I mean, if it works.
Yo, shout out to Big Sep, another super chat. Thank you, man. He said, "This is my opinion, but T-Mobile charges fees like they do because people like me don't upgrade. They can't make money off of me. Leisure was too good as a CEO." So he's a legacy customer.
Yep.
And
That's what I'm saying.
we've talked about the legacy customer being cost sensitive, but the new customer really isn't.
But Chacha, to Sep's point, right? And to B's point, there are a significant amount of legacy customers, right? Significant. Most of them are not upgrading. So if they're not upgrading, why don't you have an add-on, $10 a month extra, charge higher QCI? Or another point of view, charge for fees like T-Mobile's doing, right? B and I are on the same page tonight for the first time in months, okay? Like, this is crazy. The only people that are complaining about these fees are the people of the community because everybody else is just paying them. Go ahead, B. Go ahead.
I mean, upgrades are down across the industry. So I do want to be fair about that. Nobody's, really having significant amounts of upgrades. But to that point, upgrades are pretty much empty calories anyway. The carriers don't really make money off those. That's just kind of a way to keep people on the latest and greatest from a network standpoint, keep them happy. Generally, if a customer has a newer phone, the churn is less, things of that nature. But carriers aren't really making huge tons of money on upgrades. But as far as these fees are concerned, and I agree with Moose. Do I like the fees and everything? Personally, no, I don't. But the customer is speaking with their wallet. And so if they're still growing every quarter, and Sneed calls them the grower of the industry, then you have to reasonably conclude that they're not doing anything wrong, that the customer is penalizing them for with their business. So it is what it is, man. At this point, if you can't beat them, join them. AT&T and Verizon, maybe they should start doing the same things that T-Mobile's doing. Why not?
I love what B just said there, Cheta. I love what B just said there. If you're not able to beat them, so the switcher base, right, does not care about these fees, right? Then just join them. Put the damn fees.
Like Dish should join him.
Well, but B has a significant point here, right? B, you have a significant point. You just said it. If T-Mobile is the grower of the industry, number one, right? Gross ads, net ads, right? Net ads. And they are growing, charging these insane fees, right? And the other carriers are not. Why doesn't the other carriers align with the grower of the industry? quote of Sneed.
He's got a
Speaking of
point.
speaking of T-Mobile and kind of their changes, they're gonna do a fiber optic network, man.
Yeah. I told you. Here we go.
Shit. I've been waiting for this.
You're
I've been waiting for
funny.
this too, baby.
You're funny.
All right, this
I've been
This
waiting
is-
for this all night. All fucking night.
Moose, kick the music. There it is.
It goes back to what I've been saying. So, okay, Sneed, I'm going to give you uninterrupted, do your soliloquy. But I'm telling you right now, B and I have very strong opinions about this. We've been talking about this for months. So go ahead.
T-Mobile US wants its own fiber optic network. The US subsidiary of Deutsche Telekom has so far only acted as a mobile phone provider. Now, according to insiders, a change in strategy is imminent. And there is Mr. Sweaty Armpits himself.
Oh, look at all that sweat.
All right, T-Mobile. All right, about to change strategy. The management of the company, which has previously focused only on mobile communications, has decided internally to build its own fiber optic network. Handelsblatt learned this from several sources at Deutsche Telekom who are directly or indirectly involved in the decision. The way this would work, gentlemen and ladies who are also, partaking in the podcast here, listening in, the company Lumos, a fiber builder across multiple states in the United States, would be the fiber builder, and it would be a joint venture between T-Mobile US and Lumos. T-Mobile would essentially be bringing capital into the joint venture. Lumos would build the fiber, thus making T-Mobile a fiber owner. And that would kind of be a huge shift in their business because previously they were focused on mobility only. Even as a home broadband provider, T-Mobile has been doing it over their mobile network. So they have never built wireline, owned wireline, managed wireline. They don't own trucks. They don't own engineering teams. They don't have technicians. None of the above, right? So that's where we are right now, gentlemen. T-Mobile is about to drop an estimated $1 billion to start this project. All indications are this still allows them to be. I'm almost done. That amount allows them to remain capital light in their investment. They just kind of toe in the water, and $1,000 or $1 billion into their new fiber strategy. Moose, go ahead.
Alrighty. So, ladies and gentlemen, I feel like Stephen A. Smith right now. Okay. I respect that man for everything he does in sports. Okay. And B, I hope that you and I are aligned on this one. Because this is some crazy stuff going on right now. Okay. T-Mobile thinks that 1 billion is enough. They're going to be having a rude awakening. I'm telling you this right now. Okay. But open access will be a trend for most fiber networks starting in 2024 all the way till 2030. And what do I mean by this? Let's say you have 100 homes. I've talked about this with Tyrone as well. If you have 100 homes, and let's say you are only able to penetrate 30 homes, so 30% penetration, as in you, the company that it built out to those 100 homes, penetrates to 30 homes. Means you have 30% penetration. What about the other 70%? They're not taking you. They're taking something else or somebody else, right? Whether that's fixed wireless, cable provider, whatever. Okay. T-Mobile has figured out they do not want to own fiber. They want to do a open access arrangement with whatever fiber company they're able to do it with. And ladies and gentlemen, Lumos is the first, but not the last. Lumen might be the next. Okay. Frontier might be the next. Google Fiber might be the next. Okay. These are companies that I just named that are desperate for people to pay them monies because they are indebted billions of dollars. Google Fiber on record, Google Alphabet was on record saying, we want to partner with somebody, AKA, we're going to either partner with somebody or we're going to sell Google Fiber. And by the way, what have I been saying for months? We might have a situation where fiber consolidation might happen. The empire's coming. So, T-Mobile says, okay, Lumos, okay, and I just looked at their website, okay, because I was unaware of Lumos for a little bit. North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina, so East Coast, okay? We are going to potentially do business over there with T-Fiber, right? The same thing that they piloted in New York City, right? We're all on the same page on that one, right? Cha-Cha, you're here, right?
Well, yeah, I
T5.
mean, but
Right.
I mean, this is going to be areas where Spectrum and AT&T have already laid fiber.
Correct. So
Oh,
now
magic words.
so you now have a second option if the cable's already there, or even a third option if AT&T or cable are there, right? Or Verizon even is in there as well. But let me say this. This is good for competition, ladies and gentlemen. This is good. However, this is not a negative on T-Mobile, but this is now solidifying and making it a how do I say this? Confirming that AT&T's strategy of this quote unquote converged offer is working. If their biggest competitor, T-Mobile, is saying that I want to do a converged offer, wireless and fiber, that's all you need to do. That's all you need to say. The converged situation that Europe, South Korea, other countries have done very well for many years is now going to be more prevalent in the United States. And it's starting in 2024. But I have more comments. I'll say the more comments after the fact, Sneed, because we have some late breaking news that I definitely want to share on this podcast. But go ahead, B. Go ahead on this one.
This is laughable. T-Mobile was not getting into fiber anytime soon. Not with $1 billion. It's 50 states in America. It's 48 across the continental America. 1 billion ain't gonna fiber up New York City. It ain't gonna fiber up Baltimore. It ain't gonna fiber up Philly. It ain't gonna fiber up DC. I mean, they're better off trying to attack rural first, and guess where all the rural customers are. They're being served probably already by Spectrum or AT&T, maybe even Comcast. So, I mean, good luck. But I personally think this is a half-hearted attempt to get in there just to appease the investors to say, hey, we've got a fiber network. But really, this is laughable. You can't do telco with a capital light structure. I mean, they just continue to just piss in America's face and call it rain. And what does America do in return? Deepen their relationship. Add another million customers. I mean, the end of the first quarter is in a few weeks, and we'll see. And they'll add another million customers. I mean, it's laughable at this point. If I'm T-Mobile, I'd tack on another fee too. I'd say, hey, we're going to grow a fiber network, and we're only going to spend $1 billion. They can do no wrong, right? Trading at $100 plus. Customers continue to pay all these fees that we complain about every time we have a podcast. I mean, hey, man, they can do no wrong, right? But the reality is you cannot build a fiber network with $1 billion. You can't even begin to start building a fiber network with $1 billion. It's laughable. it's borderline disrespectful to the people who do that kind of work. But hey, America's going to continue to, you know, love everything T-Mobile does, even if it's crap. They will eat it anyway. So whatever.
All right. Yeah. So in typical thong fashion, they'll probably charge the next fee to actually take a look at these magenta colored ONTs we got rolling around. So
Oh my God.
again, the chickens have come to roost. Everybody, all to the mofo's. Oh, there's never going to be a cable merger. Well, guess what? It's going to happen now. This is the start of it.
So
Okay.
Zero Cool, you feel stronger and have more conviction than ever about this?
Since I have said it, yes, because I always know what the thongs are up to. You sneak an inch, they'll take 10 miles. Here's they're taking 10 miles. Guess what, everybody? You got three fiber providers. You got Verizon with the one fiber, AT&T, and now the thongs.
All right, Zero Cool, you got to answer this question for me. Why joint venture and why not solo?
It's just to get them going. You got two cable providers out there that's like, okay, well, we're doing this DOCSIS that only is a half a hybrid network here. We can't pass homes. You guys got to think about why. Okay, if T-Mobile can get in bed, I should say, with all these fiber providers, Comcast and Charter should kind of think of ways to do the same, but they're not. They're just going with this DOCSIS, until a merge is going to happen. Cable's going to get their butt kicked, okay, with FWA and fiber. Mark my words, and then a merge is going to happen. This is just the start of it, as I said.
Okay, so some of that's speculative, Zero Cool, so I want to get EM's take on this. EM, why do you think joint venture? Why do you think small scale $1 billion?
Because they don't know how to build fiber. That's what do you do when you don't have the skills, the engineers, the resources to do it? You look for someone else to do it for you. And when you go into these joint venture type deals, there's always a chance that other party can just decide to pivot and go a different direction down the road.
Well, we all applauded AT&T's joint venture with BlackRock.
You guys did. I didn't. I've been staunchly opposed to that deal from the beginning.
Why?
Can you bring up the website? Please bring up the T-Fiber website, Sneed, so that everyone can see it. Thank you.
I got you.
Sorry.
Zero Cool's about to keel over here.
Thongs everywhere, man, and they're nasty. They're dirty.
So let me tell you why, Sneed, I've been opposed to that BlackRock deal. Anytime private equity gets involved in telco, there's 100% chance that private equity is going to sell to the highest bidder when time comes due.
Sure, yeah.
When they start looking for some ROI.
And telco's going to be the buyer.
Who doesn't have any money right now? AT&T. They're broke. You're telling me that they're going to accrue enough free cash flow to go out and buy out whatever money BlackRock has put into this fiber network when they eventually jack up the price of what they want for that fiber network. Like, come on, the writing is on the wall.
But AT&T is a 1/3 owner.
They're okay, but what about the 2/3 that BlackRock is going to want an exorbitant amount of money down the road?
And BlackRock's going to be the other third.
1/3,
That's right.
Let's talk about the details of the plan that they got, the price lock and the speeds.
Right. All the other investors are the other third.
Okay, but let's look at private equity involvement in telco in the past, and look where it's gotten them. You've got Windstream that is heavily in debt to private equity. You have companies like Brightspeed, and then you have companies like Lumen. All three of these big fiber providers are just swimming in debt.
Mm-hmm.
They're borderline like underwater.
BlackRock will never be that.
Yeah, but AT&T might.
But AT&T might. That's the point.
I'm trying to say. They already have significant amounts of debt.
AT&T, the company that just produced $17 billion in free cash flow last year.
What does that mean?
That has nothing to do with my point.
No. The point is that they're all swimming in debt, and we know that the entire telco industry swims in debt. So how are you going to distinguish carrier A from carrier B when they're all swimming in debt?
Because everybody doesn't have a public-private, partnership or some sort of private equity firm partnership for their fiber.
Here's the
Only
problem,
only
Sneed.
AT&T, and now sounds like T-Mobile does. Verizon owns theirs outright.
They're
So I
trying
mean,
to overreach. They're trying to overreach outside of their bounds and involving private equity to infuse cash into this fiber build that they know they can't do by themselves.
Right,
And then
it's
when
outside
it
of their native footprint. They're looking to expand beyond what they've started.
but when it comes time to pay the piper, that's when the problems are going to start to arise.
They are
Pay the
one of the
piper.
pipers.
They're gonna pay the piper.
They are one of the pipers. They're a 1/3 owner. They're also their own customer.
but Sneed,
No.
that's not good enough. Like 1/3 is not good enough.
But they're still building their own fiber. They didn't put their
It's
own
not
fiber
theirs.
on hold.
But it's
It's
not
not theirs.
theirs. It's not theirs. That's the point.
2/3 of it belongs to somebody else that's sitting in their garage with their drawers on. I mean,
But they're still building their own network. I'm not talking
Yeah,
about
yeah, that's fine,
BlackRock and
Sneed. That's fine,
Gigapower.
Sneed. But you're talking about a $42 billion joint venture where 2/3 of it is owned by someone else.
How are you supposed to go outside of 30 million past addresses?
I don't know. Verizon did it.
No, they did not.
yes, they
Verizon has
did. Yes, they
been
did.
building fiber in every major metro across the
Verizon
country
has
with
not
their
done
own
fiber to
money.
the premise to 30 million addresses.
We're not talking about fiber to the prim. Just talking about fiber in general. It could be fiber to the cell, fiber to the prim. It could be both.
This is a wholesale network, right?
And you think that that's going to mean that they're going to pass a bajillion addresses with this fiber? That's not the main point of this build.
It's not the main point. The main point is for them to continue to broaden where they can have their reach. As a
Okay.
1/3 owner, it's an investment.
Okay, but
As
my
a
point is,
and then
my
as a
point is that
customer, they now have access to fiber circuits in places
Yeah.
outside of their native build.
okay,
they
but my
won't
point is
own.
that there
They
have
could
been
do the
companies that
fiber
have
circuits.
successfully done this. Charter, Verizon, Comcast, they've all done it themselves internally with their own money and their own engineers and their
So
own
does
investment.
AT&T.
But
No, Sneed.
no, they're not.
Oh my,
Guys,
really?
the
Really?
answer-
When was the last time AT&T
Okay, hold on a
expanded
second.
outside of their legacy
Right.
footprint
Okay, hold on a second.
without a
So-
joint venture?
so-
They've
so
never done it. Never.
So they're $22 billion in CapEx. Where does it go?
It's going to fund this Ericsson build. That's where this money's going, Sneed.
All right, I'm
That's
done.
why. That's why.
You guys have at it. Now you're just capping and lying and making up
No,
shit.
I'm just
That's
I'm
not-
just
but
telling you the
that's not a
facts.
lie, Sneed.
Hold on.
This is
I got
ridiculous.
the answer. So the answer is this, okay? Moose is right about the open access. Okay, the open access with the fiber is for them to use the builder, okay, and T-Mobile be the quasi owner, okay, for the fiber. That's why they're selling the damn plans.
Cool. AT&T has been spending $20 to $24 billion every year for the last 5 years. Now all of a sudden they're not spending on fiber. They got somebody else paying for them. See, this is that bullshit.
But
You guys better start calling
that's
people
not
on the
what-
line.
I'm not
or
talking
That's
else
not
you're
what he
gonna
said.
start-
That's not what I said
But
at all.
that's not what he said, Sneed.
I'm
That's
not
not what
saying
he
that.
said.
Hold on. I 100% was very clear about making sure that I understood what you said, and you repeated it again.
Well, no. What I'm saying is, okay, is they're using the Luminos as the builder, just the builder. Okay, I'm in fiber, so I know how this works. T-Mobile is
I was talking about AT&T. AT&T has been spending $22 to $24 billion every year for 5 years. Now it's bullshit, and they're not spending anything on fiber.
That's not
My
at all
ass.
what I
That's not
said.
what EM said, though, Sneed. That's not what he was saying.
Well, I'm not talking about AT&T. I'm just talking about how T-Mobile is actually going to make this work. But that's I mean, AT&T.
Well, I mean, $1 billion. We're all on the same side here. It's not going to do much. Is zero cool? You saying that? I'm saying that. EM saying it. So is B. And Moose was chuckling about $1 billion. We all know it's small scale.
Mm-hmm. But my point is that with at least with the T-Mobile, they're going to use this to expand and actually get more fiber to, and also upgraded fiber, mind you, to their cell towers. Think about all the 1 gig fiber circuits that are out there that can now officially probably upgrade the 10 to 10 gig with this partnership. Okay, that's another reason. As far as AT&T goes in their fiber game, who cares? Who gives a shit? Like, they're still doing it. Whoop-de-doo. Like, nothing's changed for them. They're still, getting fiber out there, a lot of it. They're going to continue to do that. They're not stopping fiber. They're still playing the long game.
Look, I don't think AT&T has been perfect. They definitely have not been. There's been huge miscalculations and bad decisions made there, but the company builds their own native AT&T fiber,
Yep.
and then they also have a joint venture. Also, plus, in addition to, secondarily, ancillary. Like, do you get what I'm saying? I'm not saying that they've diverted and completely changed their mission or their philosophy. They're still building their own
I-
fiber. This is on top of it.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that they didn't Sneed. That's not at all what I was saying. My point was is that every other company, whether it be Charter with the BEAD money or Comcast or Verizon, has built outside of their ILEC footprints that they've inherited. Granted, the cable companies don't really have ILEC footprints, but they have expanded their fiber network outside of their native areas internally with their own money, their own capital, their own engineering. And the AT&T is only now able to do so because they're getting 2/3 of that funding from private equity. That's my
AT&T's only
point.
problem,
So
AT&T's only real problem has been the fact that they haven't replaced their legacy network.
guys,
At a grandiose scale, but yet we're here talking about conspiracy theories that they're going to buy Frontier and they're going to buy whoever. Like, come on, wake up, quit smoking the juju, dude. This is some bullshit.
Is Frontier that big that they couldn't be consumed by AT&T?
I'm not saying that, but if they haven't even begun to overbuild their crappy copper that's been rotting in the ground for 30 years,
That's true.
what makes you think that they have the chops to take over a company that has done less overbuilding?
Yeah, they've got more DSL and copper.
Come on.
The BlackRock investment is to do only one thing and make their fiber bill go faster. That's it. That's the damn investment. That is the only reason. That is the only reason. Okay, so that's the only reason why they're going to get their fiber bill done faster, so that they can eventually, once it gets eventually done, they can concentrate on wireless back again, more on wireless, right?
Is there ever a done though? Honestly, in this game,
honestly, no.
Absolutely not.
That's why they need it. No, there's not. Well, we can say like almost done or quasi done or whatever, but it's just that's why they need BlackRock, because it's gonna be fiber to the end of time.
Yeah, exactly.
T-Mobile is doing it the crappy way and eventually looking for a merger.
Well, using private equity to fund a build is not great, especially when you're competing against a company that really does own their footprint end to end 100% in Verizon. So at the end of all of this 5G and 5G Advanced and all this stuff, everybody's still going to be looking at Verizon's ass because they're going to be in the front and everybody else is going to be, I'm sorry to be vulgar,
It's true. It's true.
What do you guys think about the T-Mobile pricing here? $55 a month. I think they're offering 2 gig speeds or something like that.
I think the 55 is for a gig.
Well, it says the prices down there on the page.
Oh, the 55 is for 500. The 1 gig is $70.
That's pretty in line with the industry.
Yeah, I'd say so. The 2 gig's a good price.
Pretty magenta and retarded in the industry.
The 2 gig is a good price because typically I think 2 gig we're seeing close at about $125 to $150.
Who's going to sign up for this crap? That's what I want to know.
Dude, I mean, I know it's limited in the availability, but the pricing is fair, man. $70. 1 gig.
Whoever in the community signs up for this, please be on the podcast.
Yo, I've never had anybody comment on a T-Fiber video and say, "Ooh, I just got this. It's great." Nobody.
But they will.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
That's going to be the next commercial. It's going to be
okay. There's what Pueblo, Colorado. There's another city in Colorado, and then they have the Pilot Fiber in Manhattan, which all my people in New York have no clue what that is.
Never seen it
because they haven't advertised it yet. It's going to have John Travolta soon slinging some fiber in the commercials. Just wait.
Yo, Aquaman come through with a fiber cable.
I could see Aquaman doing it too. Why don't we get Jason Momoa on that shit?
Go ahead, Moose.
Chacha, can I now talk about the next phase of this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a breaking news. Our good friend and ally to the channel, Tyrone, got late breaking news to this.
He's not an ally.
Regardless, this is late breaking news. Late breaking news.
Bro's just a de facto T-Mobile ops person because they don't have their own people to do it for them.
Chacha, we got to talk about this. What was said in the group chat today? We have to.
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is T-Mobile's first but not last, initiation into fiber. What they're going to do to make sure that they have more free cash flow, more of the profits to T-Mobile US, they will buy out the Deutsche Telekom stake by the fourth quarter of this year.
They don't have the free cash flow to do that.
The same thing that Verizon did with Vodafone several years ago.
Ooh, I don't know.
Do you
I
know?
don't know. Deutsche
Do you know
Telekom
that
wants
the
them to merge with the
Vodafone
cable
deal
company.
set Verizon back 20 years in debt?
Cha-cha, listen to me, Cha-cha. This is from reputable sources. This is from internal T-Mobile sources.
I get it, Moose, but the financials. Verizon still has debt from that transaction from 20 years ago.
I understand everything, but they are their own company now.
So they're going to want to just do
let
that.
them go. Germans will let them go. No way.
Listen,
Bro, that's
T-Mobile's
a cash cow.
Yeah, T-Mobile US is a cash cow.
Yeah.
For
T-Mobile
AT&T.
US is a cash cow, but their stock is at their highest, but they've peaked.
You think
They're
so?
at $160 per stock.
Ridiculous.
They are going to do this. I have reputable sources on both sides of the aisle saying this. Anyways, go ahead.
I actually think that may be valuable. They may try. I also agree that there's no way the Germans let them go easy, and what that means is it's going to be expensive.
They're going to pay top dollar for those shares.
And they're going to pay top dollar for those shares, and I'm okay with it. I want to see how T-Mobile moves when they're $200 billion in debt. I want to see how they move.
They might pay $190 a share for those shares.
Yeah, it's gonna set them back multiple years. If that transaction goes through, it's gonna set them back
like 2 decades.
Which is why I don't think it happens anytime soon, because they're already going this whole capital light strategy as is. So I don't think they're going to do it anytime soon, because they already can't afford to spend.
They're not even
right
deploying C-band and DoD radios yet. What the hell are we talking about?
Which is ridiculous. They should relinquish those licenses if they're not going to transmit on them. They shouldn't be allowed to just sit on them. They got to transmit them. I mean, what is going on with that?
Yeah, they've been sitting on it for what, 2.5 years now? 2.5, 3 years?
Such a horrible company, man. But
they got
AT&T's no
Charlie
better.
Ergen is a spectrum hoarder, right?
So the only company, and let's all be real here, the only company that is broadcasting all of their licensed spectrum currently is Verizon at mass scale.
It's facts.
Like, what are we talking
Every license that they ever bought from auction, CBRS, mmWave, the C-band, everything.
So let's stay on track, though. Let's keep on track. This is breaking news. T-Mobile may, allegedly buy out their Deutsche Telekom stake so that they can become a whole company the same way the Verizon and Vodafone transaction happened several years ago.
I don't see it.
What are they going to buy it out with? Pom-poms?
I don't know, but what I've been told by my sources, and Tyrone has corroborated, and there's even industry sources.
What does he know?
He has confirmed with his source.
Somebody at the store?
No, not at the store. What the hell? He's hearing this from the highest levels.
Get
out of here.
I don't know.
From the highest levels.
I'm telling you, look, I have my own source separate from Tyrone.
Got Eugene on speed dial.
Now, hold on. The only way that's going to happen, the only way that can happen is the cable merger first. Then they can buy out their shares. Think about it.
Well,
that's the only way.
Well,
what do you think
cable companies are swimming in debt too right now.
Yeah, what do you think is more likely?
Moose, they don't have the money. They don't have the money to buy out their shares from the Germans, man. They don't have the money.
But B, listen to me, man. They realize that their window of opportunity is closing. Their stock is never going to be higher than it is right now. T-Mobile. We're talking about T-Mobile right now, okay?
So it's already inflated. I agree with that.
Right, exactly. Right, we're on the same page. So if their stock is at the highest it's ever been, right? What's the next logical step? Is that it's going to go down, right? We're on the same
Agreed.
page on that, right?
Agreed. But they still got to
Okay.
have the capital. They still got to have the cash in order to be able to do
They
this.
can't buy
Right.
them out. There's no freaking
I,
way.
I'm telling you, I have heard from reputable sources. This will come to light soon.
And you're talking about them doing this with rates being as high as it is now.
Well, hold
That deal.
on. By the time that they are thinking about doing this, right, third and fourth quarter, they believe because of the election and all this stuff, the rates will go down. It's not significantly, but go down enough, right, that they will begin the process.
That deal is going to be $185 billion. I mean, I'm all for it if that's what they want to do, but I don't think that
I don't think the
the
Germans will let
chances
them.
are very good.
Yeah.
I don't think the
Well,
Germans are not going to let them go for cheap. That's for
let
sure.
me tell you this. You're absolutely right. Deutsche Telekom, right? Telecom, right? Deutsche Telekom will not want to lose T-Mobile US because they are their biggest cash cow.
Yeah,
Correct?
you guys have to
Yeah, but
remember.
would they relinquish all of that ownership for paying a share and a half for a share?
Well, I don't know about the details on that, but think about this, guys. Just one thing that you got to think about. Deutsche Telekom's primary business is not in the United States.
No, it's
It's in Europe.
wireline and wireless in Europe.
In Europe, correct.
Yeah. So guess
So,
who owns
go ahead.
50% of Deutsche Telekom? The German government.
Correct.
That's why they're never good. There's no way they would give it up. There's no way, freaking way.
They
No way.
there's been serious conversations at the top levels, I've been told.
Is
I mean, they
Mike
can talk
Keever
about
going
it.
to
I mean,
donate his blood or something? I mean, I don't
top
know.
levels talk
That's
about
gonna happen.
top levels talk about a lot of things. That means it's going to happen.
All I know is this, guys. This has been a very big conversation piece.
I don't know. We said the same thing. Top level talks about AT&T buying Frontier, but where does that make any sense
We
logically?
said that 2025. What are you talking about?
I'll wait until it happens.
You know, I remember when I first discovered this T-Fiber website about 2 years ago. It's on the podcast. I'm thinking, we'll do something with this. Now here we are. It's going to be a cable merger coming, and then maybe a Deutsche Telekom buyout coming after that. That's all I can see.
Cable merger's gonna happen first.
Exactly.
That I do agree with Zero Cool on. That's got to happen
This
first.
is just the start. Think about it, guys. Fiber's the main game. T-Mobile. You guys remember what they said? Well, we don't need, wireless is the answer. We don't need no wireline. Bull crap. Here you go. There's their fib. Now they're getting in T-Fiber. The next bull crap lie, they're going to say, oh, we don't need cable or cable this and that, and then they're going to merge. This is what they do.
Hold on, but Chacha, remember what you told me a long time ago, and I will always remember this. Watch what they do, not what they say. Correct, Chacha?
Facts.
Right?
Yeah.
So they can say whatever the hell they want, but eventually they're going to know. Right? They're going to change and pivot. Whatever, that's just like B says. As a capitalistic company, right? They can do whatever the hell they want, right, B?
Yes, sir.
Right. So this is what my sources, Tyrone sources, Sneed is investigating this as well. We'll see what happens.
We have to track this, man.
This is a big deal. If T-Mobile US, they're not going to change their name, but if T-Mobile US separates from Deutsche Telekom Germany, right? And Deutsche Telekom needs that money infusion for whatever projects they need in Germany or in Netherlands or whatever, right? Whatever they're expanding to, this will happen.
I mean, look how fast they got SoftBank out of the equation. It literally took less than 2 years.
Yeah, but that was the old Deutsche Telekom's deal, though. They're the one that retained more ownership over T-Mobile in the process.
They became the 51. They became
like 51,
51%.
56%. Yeah, so I don't see how they have to dig themselves out of that. It used to be about 45%. Now it's jumped up to 51 or 56, whatever it is. So
When Verizon consummated the deal to buy out Vodafone's shares, Vodafone owned 45% of Verizon.
that's right.
And that deal was $130 billion.
They weren't the
If you-
majority
if you-
shareholder. They were the B side.
They were 45%. So what I'm saying is that in 2024, with the rates where they are now, they're going to have to pay $200 billion to Deutsche Telekom to get out, and that's
Don't have
it. May be even more because their shares right now are at $160, and they don't
By the
have
way,
it. So I don't see it happening anytime soon.
By the way, Blind G Tech does make a good point. He just texted me on something that we should definitely talk about on the podcast. So this House bill that just passed that is quote unquote labeled the TikTok ban, right? Which basically means that no foreign adversary or no foreign entity can own a company in the United States that does, massive business for the United States populace, right? T-Mobile classifies as a U.S. company owned by a foreign company, or I should say foreign country, 51%, correct?
Yeah, but they're not an
foreign
adversarial.
Correct.
They're not an adversarial.
They're not an
government.
adversary.
They're not China.
Correct. But if Germany does not pay their fair share in NATO, then technically we can have a conversation about that, correct?
That's
NATO is a
that's-
scam,
no,
bro. Hell with that
no,
shit.
that-
I wouldn't be
See?
paying it anyway.
We can have all the conversations we want on that then.
I don't think Germany's known for not paying their fair share in
they'll pay
NATO.
their fair share.
They've been paying up the ass since the 1940s, bro.
Yeah, they're not the problem. So I think they'll be fine.
Well, my point is that you get what I'm saying, right, B? Is that law could change the direction somehow, some way. We never know. We don't know what's the details.
Well, I definitely respect your point, Moose. I think I know where you're going with it, but I don't think Germany's in the crosshairs as far as that's concerned. They've got a good relationship with the U.S., so I think they'll be okay.
So I think T-Mobile fiber is a worse dumpster fire than Dish Network, right? I mean, that's
Agreed.
clear.
Agreed.
I mean, it's crazy, man. They got no heavy places. They got no digger derricks. They got no underground. I mean, they don't have the people. They don't have the materials. They don't have the. I mean, good luck.
Lipstick on a pig, man. That's all it is.
This is just for the investors, man.
That's all it is.
This is just to appease to the investors to say, hey, we're trying to do something. But this is a half-hearted approach. And it really is disrespectful to the industry, man. It really is.
Yeah, I gotta give hats off to AT&T. I've been enjoying my AT&T fiber.
We need to. I think about doing this. Let's call our customer service line and see what they can do.
Yo, breaking news. Justin Fields has been traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I saw that, dude. That's crazy.
Man, this is hours ago news, bro.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've been on the live stream for almost 3 hours.
So here's the plan that Russell Wilson's gonna ride out his contract that he has from the Broncos. He's gonna get that
That contract is void.
39 milli or whatever guaranteed from them.
That contract is void. He got his guaranteed money. He's on a 1-year deal with the Steelers.
At what league minimum right now?
Like $5 million.
So he rides out that contract. Justin Fields learns what he can from Russell Wilson, and the Steelers got a banging quarterback for.
What is he going to learn? How to be a simp for some dumbass? Like, what the hell is he going to do with that?
How do we know he's banging? What has he done on the field to say he's a banging quarterback?
Russell Wilson? He's a Super Bowl champion. What are
No,
you talking
not
about?
Russ. I'm talking about Fields. We call him a banging quarterback.
I'm saying he's gonna have time to learn from one of the best in the game right now, or historically one of the best in the game. I don't know if he hasn't played very well at Denver, but
I'm not sure how much he's going to learn from Russ. Russ has never really been good at cultivating,
coaching, mentoring.
Teammates. Yeah, he's not really that guy. But I mean, I hear you in theory, but he's not really that guy.
Hold on. Does he get his own office next to Mike Tomlin in the Pittsburgh?
Exactly.
Is Sierra going to be able to just barge in and do what she's got to do?
Goddamn Sierra.
I mean, I don't know, man. A lot of people like Fields. A lot of people like Fields, and I get it. But from what we've seen so far, while he's been on the Bears, he hasn't really made anybody else better. I understand everybody's going to blame the teammates. Say he didn't have it. You wouldn't play with anybody. I don't really like that narrative. He didn't make anybody better either. The people he was playing with weren't drafted 8th overall. He was. And so part of the reason you go that high, especially at the quarterback position, is because you're supposed to make your teammates better around you. He didn't really do that. His best attribute is his ability to run around. He picks it up pretty well. And that's great. But at the end of the day, quarterbacks, you got to be able to deliver the football from the pocket. He's not really good at that. Or he hasn't shown the ability to consistently do that. Maybe sitting behind Russ, maybe he'll get better. Maybe he won't. I don't know. But the jury's still out on that. I don't. I generally don't think it's a good thing when first round quarterbacks get traded before their first contract is even up. But that's just me.
It's
We'll see what
okay.
happens.
It's okay, but you still got Brock Purdy. I've got Jordan Love. We're chilling.
I mean, these are the facts, and I agree.
Right, nobody
chilling.
chilling in San Francisco, man. You saw the end of that Super Bowl game?
I blocked it out, but
Yeah, we forget about the second.
Oh, that was so close.
I blocked it out, Sneed. I don't want to discuss it, but I will say
All right.
it feels the jury's still out on that guy. I don't know what he can do. That entire draft was really bad. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's going to be sponsored by T Fiber. There we go. We're at almost at 2.5 hours. Yep.
Good show. Thank you, B. Thank you, EM. Thank you, Zero Cool Moose. Thanks for hanging out with us, man. You guys are the best. Big shout out to everybody who provided super chats tonight. All the members, all the wrenches, the mods. Thank you guys for taking care of business and supporting the channel. Anybody who's ever donated to the channel, those that share my content, like the videos, rate them, and all those types of things. Big salute to you all and my patrons. We're gonna try to do a live stream tomorrow in the late morning, early afternoon. I'll try to manage a way to schedule it, and we got some exclusive content coming out this week too. So keep it locked and tuned here to the SMT for more content. We out this piece. Peace.